You're listening to Panthers on Tap. I'm Curtis Rauen, joined by Bryson Karbley. We're just two fans sharing our love for the game and Carolina Panthers football. So join us, crack open a cold one, some bubbly, a little wine, some scotch. We don't care, whatever makes you sleep better at night. Before we dive into the episode, a little self-promotion. Stop what you're doing. Go give us a follow on Twitter at Panthers on Tap. Join the discussion on our Facebook group. We have over 2,500 members. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Just search Panthers on Tap. We have finally made it to draft day. After all the mock drafts out there, Bryson, we are not wasting any more time. We're getting to it tonight. We got a big-ass panel for you guys. We're bringing out all the guns for our loan. We only do one mock draft a year. Ricky's probably done about 50 by now. JJ said he's only done one, but I feel like he's a closet mock drafter. He's probably done 50. And Kevin, you're always on the road, man. You're like Magellan out there traveling the country. So you don't got time for that shit. But let's get into it tonight, guys. We're happy to have you all on here. Later on, if you guys kind of are right off the jump, if you guys want to plug anything, you're more than welcome to. I don't want to get too much into that myself, but if you guys want to plug your platforms, your podcast, why don't we start with Ricky? Just kind of, get for those who don't know, kind of give us a run through of just, your show. So I guys kind of want to give you guys the spotlight too, to share that as well.
Yeah, I'll go real fast. The Bow Body Show is the name of my podcast. It's myself and my co-host, Alex Bryant. You can check out some of my work on Cat Crave. I've got a couple of scouting portfolios that are out right now. And then I just released my first edition of my big board that I have titled Board. And it is available for download, a little Google document link. Check it out. Let me know what you think, man. Ridicule me, all those kinds of good things. Thank you for having me on, guys. Always like being here.
Yeah, that big board is something else. Fantastic work. I mean, you're putting the beast. The beast has some competition. So,
oh no, that's not true, man. But I appreciate the words.
JJ, why don't you go?
JJ Hardy, owner of Panthers Culture LLC. Primarily here for the culture of the Panthers. Wanted to have a voice in the fandom, and I've been doing this for around 5 years now. I did have a stint where I was selling apparel. That could come back if we start winning. But for now, I'm just focused on being a voice, and I'm a podcast mercenary. So I'm here tonight, to share my wisdom or lack of wisdom, with you all, and I'm happy to be here, man. Happy to be back.
Kevin, what's going on with Four Man Rush?
Well, with the Four Man Rush, I actually secured a interview request with a very popular member of the Charlotte of the Panthers media reporters. We're working out the details on a day and a time, so we'll be having an interview coming up sometime next week. I'll be doing a post-draft interview with a member of the Panthers media team. Like I said, I had reached out to them earlier today, and they was like, "Hey, just hit me up Monday, and we'll work something out next week." So be on the lookout for that. And we also are going to start dropping content from our website as well. Once we get the picks in, we didn't want to get caught up in all the fluff, everyone doing the same thing over and over during the off season. So it's just kind of like, hey, let's get all of our toys here first, and then we'll start rolling out content. So just be on the lookout for the Four Man Rush, particularly through our Twitter page, and we'll be dropping the links, link you to our website so you have access to it.
All right, well, let's get into it tonight. You guys obviously know Bryson and I. Bryson, how you doing?
Outstanding. My favorite episode of the year. I'm super excited for this one. A bunch of great dudes joining us. So appreciative for that. And then one note, I want to say congratulations to one of the best running backs and getting his Heisman back, Reggie Bush. Got his Heisman reinstated. So, making right decisions finally in reinstating Reggie Bush. Congratulations to him. Just wanted to say that off the top.
All right, let's get into the draft here. And let's start, well, actually not get into the draft, but let's start with some of these trade rumors that have come up and guys requesting trades. And I kind of just wanted to start with that and just get your guys' opinion on T. Higgins requesting a trade. Hendrickson also of Cincinnati, the D end, requesting a trade today. And then obviously the Brandon Ayuk saga. And I guess I'll just pose this. We'll start with Ricky on this one. Out of those three guys, would you be willing to give up something? I would think probably a day 2 or day 3 pick to go out and get one of those guys ahead of the draft.
I'm a big personal fan of Brandon Ayuk. I like what he would bring to this team. I like his skill set. You talk about needing a separator and a route technician, but he also has those ball skills. He plays a little bit bigger than his size. I think that in that San Francisco offense, he's been a little bit capped, and they still feature Deebo Samuels. They have Christian McCaffrey. They've got George Kittle, right? So there's only so many throwing opportunities in that Shanahan offense. I think that he's probably a better high volume receiver than what you've seen from a production standpoint, but he's got great hands. He's, I think, 26 years old. I would pay him the money. I think that he's worth it. I know that that's a hang up for a lot of fans. I would have no problem sending 33 and signing him to a contract. Hendrickson, really good ball player. I don't know that I would necessarily want to give up capital to go and bring him in. I don't know what his long-term prognosis is. Like, where is he going to want to fit in? Is he looking for a contract extension as well? How much do we value his skill set right here? Because I think that Evero has been very deliberate in the kind of players that he's bringing in. So I don't know if they are going to find as much value in that. But as far as the receivers, I would be interested, and I would rank Ayuk over Higgins for me personally.
JJ, what about you with Higgins and Ayuk? I know you have a special place for San Fran in your heart.
I definitely would prefer Ayuk to Higgins, and for a lot of the reasons that Ricky mentioned, but more so than anything else, Dave Canales seems to be very intentional about having a receiver who can force defenses to roll coverage to that one guy. I think between the two guys, Ayuk is the one that would have the most attention on him, as a wide receiver. I think T. Higgins is a very big target, big catch radius. I haven't seen him truly be a number one, especially without having like a guy like Chase on the other side. So, but we've seen Ayuk come into the league, develop, come into a situation where he wasn't the number one, but develop to the point where he's considered the number one now, with a all-pro guy on the other side in Deebo Samuel. And so if he can do that within Shanahan's offense, which we know, creates a lot of opportunities for a lot of different people, I think he can definitely come to Carolina and be featured as the number one guy here. And as Ricky said, I think at the wide receiver position, what we paid DJ Moore like $20 million, 2-3 years ago, and that was a great rate at the time. But time has moved on and salaries have gone up, and so after we saw St. Brown get paid today, then I know you would have to at least come to the table with that. And I think the earlier you get a guy like Ayuk, if you want to pay a guy like that, then you trade for him and you pay him now. And so definitely Ayuk over Higgins. And then as for Hendrickson, I love the guy. I think he's a dog. I just don't know if he fits in Evero's base 3-4 situation. And so with that being said, as much as I like him, I don't know if he's a good fit for who we are now. So out of the three situations that occurred today, Ayuk is definitely the one that I'm interested in, and I would give up 33 for him.
Yeah, and I think I saw a report today, like late this evening, that someone talked to Hendrickson's agent, and he was even mulling retirement. So I don't know where he's really at and where he wants to even play or not play anymore. Kevin, what about you with those three guys?
I'm gonna complete the hat trick here and just be on team Brandon Ayuk. I said it early on when it wasn't as popular to say, and people try to run me off Twitter for saying it, but he definitely defines what Dan Morgan says he wants a dog. I mean, that's Atomic Dog, Deputy Dog, Snoop Dog. Like Brandon Ayuk got all the dogs that you could want on your team. And he's 26. I mean, he's just really starting to hit his prime. Really hasn't been featured. I mean, with Brant Tillis here, I don't even care about the salary cap. People try to make so much about, oh, he wants $25 million. So what? I'm sorry about the cuss. So the blank what? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, in 2 or 3 years, that money's going to be seems like nothing now because, won't surprise me if Justin Jefferson gets like $40 million a year average. When it's time for him to seal his deal, him and Jamar Chase. But send that 33rd away. I know some people are like, what about 39? It would be nice, but I think that would be a dream. Because I think the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken, pick 28th or 29th currently, the way it's set up. So for them to have a chance to draft back-to-back in a real short amount of time on the end of day one and beginning of day two might be appealing for them. But for me, send Brandon Ayuk out here, and while Bryce is still affordable and cheap, let's load him up on some weapons. Let's get it on, and that still wouldn't deter me from the Panthers drafting a wide receiver too in this class, because the talent in this wide receiver class, you just can't not leave without grabbing somebody, even if it's a day three. It's talent in this wide receiver class, even if we were to have the balls to pull it off. So, yeah, Brandon Ayuk for me.
Bryson?
Yeah, what's a hat trick plus one? What's that called?
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what everyone says. I think Brandon Ayuk is the clear best player of the three. Like Kevin was saying, he hasn't been featured to the highest of his abilities in San Francisco, but from what we've seen, I think he's, if not the most electric, one of the most electric players on that offense with a lot of talent. I would, in a heartbeat, trade 33. I think if he was in this draft class, with what we know about Brandon Ayuk, I mean, he would be a top 2. I mean, maybe number 1 receiver in the draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a hell of a player, but I mean, Ayuk is just so versatile, and his route running, deep threat. I mean, you can put him anywhere on the field, and he's gonna get his. I'm a huge fan, and like I said, I would send 33 in a heartbeat for him and extend him, pay him whatever he wants, because the cap does not matter.
Yeah, I'll break the mold. Give me T. Higgins. I would take both guys over really much anyone on the Panthers roster in the wide receiver room, but I'll take Higgins. Not going to spend too much time on it, but that would be my preference. Let's get into the draft needs. Let's shift our focus here now with the draft. Again, we're going to do a 7-round mock draft coming up here shortly, but I want to start with draft needs. What are the biggest needs you guys think? 1 to 4, 1 being your biggest need for this roster. And I kind of want to pull that together and kind of use that for our model for this draft. So I'll start with JJ. 1 to 4, what are your biggest needs for this team for Carolina?
Wow. I think I'm going to kind of go against the grain here. I think the biggest need for Carolina is actually cornerback. We have struggled, in the secondary for the last few years. I mean, even if the stats don't show it, I think we've done a lot to mask our deficiencies there. But when they did show, it was glaring. When we were without J.C. Horn, we basically don't have anybody who can play man-to-man coverage. Going into J.C. Horn's 4th year, and he hasn't been healthy, for a full season in any of his years. I love J.C. Horn as a talent. For the record, I believe that we should exercise his 5th-year option just based on that talent. However, we haven't had an answer on the other side for J.C. Horn, and if he goes out, we haven't had a number 1 cornerback, with him being out. So I think corner is the number 1 need. Wide receiver would be my next need, and everybody knows why. We're trying to get Bryce to a point where he can be comfortable, trusting of that receiver skill set in the skill group. And then after wide receiver, I think I'll go back defense and look at the linebacker position, right? And honestly, I could pick both linebacker positions in this defense. Like I say, inside linebacker or outside linebacker. But I do think we need to draft, for one of those positions. And ideally, it would be nice if we went inside that we could get a guy who could potentially be a starter early. And then last, I would go with center, right? We have Corbett, who seems very confident, and they feel very confident about him being able to man the center position. And he said that he's been basically practicing center ever since he came into the league. And I went back and found where the Rams were preparing to use him at one point. Cleveland, had him ready to go to play center. And obviously he's noted for his leadership skills and his knowledge of, different types of schemes and stuff. And so I'm all for him playing center. But the reality is he's been hurt for the past 2 seasons as well at some point of the season. And so even if he can play the position, fundamentally, I'm more concerned that if he gets hurt, with another lower leg injury, that we won't have anything behind him who we could plug in. And we have all seen here in Carolina ever since Ryan Khalil that position has been like wildly inconsistent and hardly dependable. And I don't want to go through another season where Bryce Young, being 5'10" barely, has a center in front of him that he can't trust to pass pro. And so I definitely would say center. And that's those are my 1 through 4. And center probably deserves to be a little bit higher, to tell you the truth, but I'll keep it right there for now.
Kevin, what about you? Top 4.
Yep. Well, for me, being a trench guy, I'm gonna start off. My number 1 is center. When you got a 5'10" franchise quarterback who just had 62 sacks, protecting him, it should be top priority, hands down, without any problem. We've already secured 2 very big, very nasty type guards. Why not go ahead and finish completing the whole interior offensive line to solidify, the protection of Bryce Young? Again, I like Corbett, but again, he may have, quote, practice, but he's yet to take an NFL snap at center. And, the bullets hit a lot different, going live. So I just think that for me, center is, my most number 1 pressing need for the team, because not only protection of Bryce Young, but we gotta open up this running game again. It's just if we're gonna run the way Coach Canales says he wants to run. Let's go ahead and get a center that can has the versatility that can do either zone or gap. Who can do pull blocks, who can do pin and pull schemes. Like we would need that. Second position of need after that for me would be a wide receiver. Again, if we got quarterback protection, we was dead last, and as far as our wide receivers getting separation last season. So what's the use of Bryce Young having 4 or 5 seconds if nobody's open? So that's why I was all in for Brandon Ayuk. I know Deontay Johnson's going to be nice, but outside of that, who has a proven record of getting open? So, again, whether we make the trade or not, even though it may seem likely that we're not going to trade for Brandon Ayuk, I've been a fan of double dipping at the position in this draft. Again, this draft is just way too talented not to take advantage of it at a time where you can get it at a low cost and still get production for 4 years. Position number 3 for me, I would flip it over to the defensive side. For me, again, I'm going to go back in the trenches. Since we are running Evero's defense, which is a 3-4 philosophy, we need a true nose tackle, and I just really think that that's something a lot of fans really are not paying attention to or really caring that much about. A true zero technique nose tackle would allow Derek Brown and Robinson to really, get after it and to really be effective. So nose tackle would be number 3 for me. And finally, number 4, I would have to go linebacker. And, I just think that with Shaq Thompson, can we say, is he post-prime? I mean, he's coming off an Achilles injury. I mean, I know he's the leader, but, we need to start preparing that next great linebacker for the Panthers. So that would be the order for me.
Ricky, what about you?
So I'm going to start with corner. I do think the corner is a really big need. You look at it, J.C. Horn is terrific when he's on the field. He just isn't on the field for full seasons. He hasn't done it. So I'm going to act accordingly until he proves me wrong on that. But then looking at the depth behind him, it's Dane Jackson, Troy Hill, DiCaprio Bootle, Deshaun Jameson, Lamar Jackson, and A.J. Parker. Those are the names. There's not a name on that list that you're going to sit there and say that if J.C. Horn goes out, you feel comfortable with one of them filling in on his position. There are areas that all of those guys can play well and excel in. Being J.C. Horn's replacement is not one of them for me. So I want to have somebody that can take over that with the real possibility that he's not going to play 17 games. From there, I go center as well. And JJ and Kevin bring it up that Austin had his reps in training camp and in off-season OTAs in Cleveland and in Los Angeles. He never won those competitions. He took reps in preseason. He never won those competitions to play center. And you can say that maybe they had a bigger need at right guard, and so that's why they ended up putting him there. But if you talk about the function of an offense, is center a more important position from a pure in a vacuum theoretical standpoint? I would argue that it is. So if you have a terrific player that is supposed to be better than everybody else, why would you not play him at center? So for us to say, hey, this guy's coming off 2 significant leg injuries, he did not look like the Austin Corbett that was fantastic for us 2 years ago when he came back last year. I'm not going to bank after what we saw. And Bradley Bozeman's a terrific guy. I love him as a human, and I like him in a power run scheme. But he struggled last year. And I don't want to see us spend $150 million just to have Austin Corbett get run over or get injured when he is quite literally the only center on the roster right now with that positional designation. So at worst, you have to draft for depth there. But in this draft, if you have Zach Frazier and Jackson Powers-Johnson staring at you in the eyes, I don't want you to get timid. I want you to go and grab one. Don't worry about the fan base. Worry about Bryce Young and what you've invested in. Third, for me, I'm going to go pass catcher. I'm not going to say a wide receiver because I don't think that you have to limit yourself to just a wide receiver here. I think, and I'm not going to give the name, but everyone knows the guy that I'm big on, and we could talk about it through the mock draft. But there is an advantage to having a true pass-catching tight end in the modern NFL as well. Dave Canales has alluded to wanting a Swiss Army knife to add to that room. I don't feel Tommy Tremble is a good ball player. I think he's a complimentary ball player. I don't think that he's a true number one tight end. I think that if you had a great pass-catching tight end and you could run some 12 personnel with Tommy, you could create some serious advantages in that kind of a scheme. And then last for me, I do a combo of linebacker and edge, man, because I think it's really difficult to say that we just need an inside linebacker. Josie Jewell signed a 3-year deal. They like him. He's familiar with Evero, and I think he's a pretty solid football player. Shaq Thompson is the question. How healthy can he stay, and has he lost a step? He's coming off of an Achilles. That's a difficult injury to come back 100% from. You look at the edge. I loved Jadeveon Clowney, liked the addition. He's an edge-setting outside linebacker, right? He had a great pass rush win rate last year in Baltimore. It was his best in his career, and he had a lot of talent around him. That's not the scenario here in Carolina. DJ Wanham is a cleanup artist, right? He is an opportunistic player, and you need that. I like it. He's got a good engine, but he's not creating on his own. Does Evero covet a speed pass rusher? He hasn't historically, so I don't know that that's necessarily going to be high up on their list. But for me, you got to bring somebody in, whether it's an inside linebacker or an off-ball linebacker that also has some pass rush chops and the ability to play in coverage where Josie Jewell maybe falls behind a little bit.
Bryson, where are you at with need?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ricky in regards to the pass catcher. I think the more macro look is getting weapons for Bryce Young on offense, where they clearly struggled last year. More micro for number one, it would be a wide receiver for me. They bring in Deontay Johnson, and then after that, there's a lot of question marks. You know, Adam Thielen's not getting any younger. He is coming off a really good season. Probably surprised a lot of us how well he played. And then after that, you know, I have high hopes for Jonathan Mingo. I haven't given up on him. I do think that he can and did show growth last season towards the end. And I think that hopefully that can continue into this year. But I think getting a wide receiver opposite of Deontay Johnson should be your number one option going into the draft, or your number one priority. At 2, like JJ mentioned, and like Mike K in our show a couple weeks ago mentioned, kind of really opened our eyes. Cornerback is a large position of need for Carolina. J.C. Horn, we all know, struggled to stay on the field throughout his career up to this point. And after him, there is a lot of question marks. Dane Jackson, more of a situational player in Buffalo. Dan Morgan's very high on. Hopefully that works out. But, J.C. Horn goes down. You're relying on Dane Jackson as cornerback 1. Number 3 would be edge for me. Like Ricky mentioned, Jadeveon Clowney was really good last season in a really good system with really good talent around him. DJ Wanham, again, more of that cleanup guy, doesn't have a history of creating on his own, also has some injury concerns as well. So I think adding a young up-and-coming edge rusher is a priority for this team to help fill the role of Brian Burns that has left a giant hole on this team. And then 4th, I'll go center as well. Like everybody else mentioned, Austin Corbett not having experience, having the injury history, and no one behind him to fill in if he goes down would really leave you in a tough spot, in any situation for Bryce Young. So wide receiver, cornerback, edge, and center for me.
Yeah, I'll go quick here too. I agree with Bryson. I think wide receiver is still the biggest need. We all pissed and moaned last year about wide receivers, and they've only added one to this roster. I think, the TMJ experience, I'm kind of over that by now. And Adam Thielen's aging. He's not getting any younger. Still not out on Mingo either. I think he does have potential. 2 for me is center, and I would probably do 2A and 2B. But center, and we've talked, Ricky, about this before too, kind of on Twitter. Just the game rep scares the hell out of me with Corbett coming off of 2 major injuries. I get it. I know they wrote that nice piece on Panthers.com this week about, him always, one of his coaches thought he'd always be a center, and now he's being a center. It's a great story. It's a great piece, but I want to see the reps on the field.
He had a couple of coaches before that also thought he would be a center too, and he just didn't win it, right? So
yeah, exactly. He had an opportunity in Cleveland. Obviously, I think it was Treader there at the time. But so yeah, that would be a big concern, because I do think that center position is pivotal for Bryce Young. I do like that there's a veteran in that spot right now. It's just a veteran that doesn't have a lot of experience playing in games. So that's a concern for me. I'd go corner then probably next. The thought of J.C. Horn going down scares the hell out of me. I don't know a whole lot about Dane Jackson. I know Troy Hill is serviceable in that nickel spot, but he's not getting any younger either. So the only thing that gives me hope with that position is Jero Evero. I mean, the guy has brought in guys off the street, and they played well in his system last year. We saw it with all the injuries in the secondary. So he gives me a little bit more hope, but I do think that position is of need. And then I would go kind of both of, what Ricky said with edge and linebacker. I think at some point they're going to have to get another edge guy. I know they signed Wanham and Clowney to 2-year deals, but you got to have a future with that position, and you got to start thinking about it. And I do think that, the way they design those contracts, it does give them wiggle room. If they don't get someone this year, they can go out and get someone next year type of thing. But I do think they need to add there. We all know the awful pick of DJ Johnson. That guy might not see much of the field this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. And then I do think they need someone to fill, Shaq Thompson coming off of, 2 injuries. I'm not as high on Jewell as others are. We'll see if he can kind of get back to what he was 2 years ago in Evero's system. But I do think, if the right guy's there, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in the mock, that we go after, a type of player like the person I'm thinking of. So yeah, I think so. We're kind of in between wide receiver or corner, maybe center as like our top, 1 and 2 between those 3 positions. And we can kind of, weigh what we think as we get into this mock draft. You guys want to maybe mention one or two players. I call them the draft darlings. Who do you like? You don't have to get too specific because I'm sure we're going to talk about them as we get into the mock. But if you just kind of want to mention them and just give us a brief, 1-2 lines of what you like about that player. Why don't we start with JJ on that?
Okay, so I tweet so much about my darlings all year long, so I won't go through, all of my obvious ones. I'll focus on the ones that I've come around to lately. The first one being Edgar Cooper, linebacker out of Texas A&M. I've watched a lot of him recently, and I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, so I want a good second level linebacker. One that's a field general, sideline to sideline guy, somebody that's good in coverage, somebody who can blitz, and be a ball separator, and hopefully someone who forces turnovers. So Cooper has risen up my board, of darlings. So I would list him first. My second darling is, and it's hard to decide on who I would name, but I like Braden Fisk. I don't know where he's going to go, in the draft. They were howling him, after the combine, but you don't hear his name mentioned much anymore. But I want somebody who can rush, from the interior. I want that vertical pass rusher, and we don't have that on the roster right now. And when I look back at Avery's defenses, he runs some exotic fronts sometimes, to get after the passer. He really doesn't focus on the edge as much as he does a dominant guy who can command attention on the front. And then they kind of blitz off of that or run pressures off of that. So if you get a guy who can command a double team, and then it's going to free up Derrick Brown, or Derrick Brown being double is going to free him up. So I want a guy like Braden Fisk, a disruptor, a game wrecker, from the interior. So I'll focus on those two being my darlings.
Ricky?
Yeah, I'll just give you quick names. Jalen Polk is my number one favorite player in this draft. And Curtis, I know that just really chaps your ass for me to say that, man. And I'm looking forward to all of the villain memes that you'll put out during this segment. Jalen Polk, Ben Sinnott, the tight end out of Kansas State. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. He's my tight end too. Jalen Polk is my wide receiver 6. Max Melton, a cornerback out of Rutgers. I'm a really big fan of inside-out versatility. Put a really nice show on at the combine, but his tape is littered with good NFL style football. So I like him. And then I'll say Marshawn Nealand will be my fourth name that I'll bring up. I think that he also fits really well into what Evro likes because he's a power rusher, but he's kind of just now scratching the tip of that iceberg as a pass rusher as well. Crazy hot motor, man. And I'm all about a guy that has that length and that drive. So those would be my 4.
Bryson?
Yeah, I'll go 2 wide receivers. First being Javon Baker, 6'1", 202, former Alabama signee, 4-star recruit out of high school, transferred to UCF and immediately produced because he couldn't get on the field at Alabama. He doesn't really have that top-level speed to kind of take the top off of defense, but he really specializes in that second and third level and playing inside or out. His instincts catching the ball are probably some of the best in the draft. He is just outstanding, pinpointing a ball in the air and just going and getting it. Tough player, like that typical blue hat. Like he's gonna not be scared to get hit and go get a ball. His stock is all over the place. 2nd round, like 5th round, nobody really knows where he's gonna go. But I'm a huge fan of Jalen. And then another one, I'm gonna give a shout out to Ricky. I watched his episode with Matt Waldman, and they talked about this guy, Anais Smith. I didn't know a lot about him. And Matt Waldman, his comp for Anais Smith was Golden Tate, which really, his top level comp, what he can be. And they mentioned Curtis Samuel as well. Matt Waldman said that he might be the best route runner after the catch in the draft. And this is a guy that might go undrafted based off of his injury history and an arrest, I think, that occurred. His versatility, receiving, catching, and playing special teams, returning the ball. He is just so quick, man. Watching him, it just excites me, the possibility of getting somebody like that late in the draft and then immediately producing on the field for your team. I think he's going to be a steal of this draft, whoever gets him. And like I said, immediately get on the field. He's got super reliable hands, and his football IQ shows on tape. He's just super smart. And coming from a school like Texas, strong history of producing receivers as well. I like him a lot. So shout out to Ricky for opening my eyes to Anais Smith.
Shout out Matt Waldman, man. That dude is an encyclopedia of football.
Yeah, that was a damn good episode, by the way. I caught about 40 minutes of it, and it was fantastic. So
Thank you.
Shout out for scoring that guy because he was really knowledgeable. I'll jump in quick, and then Kevin will go to you. If you see our Twitter, Adonai Mitchell for me. The guy's a playmaker, strong hands, massive catch radius, great adjuster with the ball in the air. I really like him. A couple other guys, Braylon Allen. I'm biased with being a Wisconsin fan, but the guy is a downhill runner. He's a bruiser, seeks out contact. He was actually recruited as a safety and a linebacker actually going to Wisconsin. So he kind of plays like a defender. He wants to take on hits. The only thing that concerns me is he does have a little bit of limited route tree out of the backfield, but if this, like, Carolina needs that third down short yardage type situation, this is the guy for him. I also really like Jonathan Brooks. I think he's a really talented player if he can come back from that ACL injury that he sustained this past season. But the guy's elusive. He's light on his feet. He's got patience. He's got a really nice juke and spin move. I know Carolina brought him in. I don't know if that's necessarily a massive need for them. But those were two of the other guys I was looking at. And then on defense, TJ Tampa is an interesting prospect out of Iowa State. Guy had a really nice game against Adonai Mitchell when he played versus Texas. But he's another one that I'm kind of keeping my eye on for Carolina. And I know the guy from Michigan is one to watch too, that Carolina seems like they've liked from reports. But TJ Tampa is one I got my eye on. Kevin, what about you for prospects, darlings?
Yeah, I'll give you 4 as well. Number 1 would be Cedric Van Pran, the center out of Georgia. He's someone that is equally effective in both power gap and zone. He does a great job getting to the second level. He has not only dog, but some nasty with him. He's got that throwback, snot bubbling type of guy with his blocks. I like his footwork. I like the fact he has a very high IQ. Picking up stunts and blitzes is something that he's been very good at. Teams have been beating us with basic tackle in loop stunts for the last several years, and this guy would definitely put an end to it. Like I said, great guy mentally as far as being able to call out the protections and identifying blitzes. My other guy on offense here is I'm gonna go tight end. I like Jatavian Sanders out of Texas. I really think that when you look at the type of tight ends that we currently have in Carolina, he's someone that would give us that sizzle, that juice at the tight end spot that we really haven't had since Greg Olsen. He's someone that I believe that he runs a good route tree. He's a willing blocker and he's versatile with his blocking. He's someone you can actually line up in the backfield to, kind of lead block a little bit as well. So I like that versatility with him. Now on the defensive side, believe it or not, even though I'm a trench guy, I'm gonna go with cornerbacks. A couple of cornerbacks that I really like here. I like Ronaldo Green out of Florida State. I think he definitely has that dog in him. He's definitely a guy to get his hands on a lot of balls, pass deflections. He's someone that I really like, because cornerback is definitely a need for us, even though I didn't mention that in my top 4 needs. And the second guy, also at cornerback, because you guys have already mentioned Edgar and Cooper at linebacker. I'm going to go with Kalen King out of Penn State. He's a cornerback that excels at man. He can play off the ball. He's a good tackler. He's able to play inside and out. Again, he gives you that flexibility to be productive wherever you put him at on the field. So those are the 4 that I have.
Sorry, I was drinking water and I apologize. Slow to the mute. But I feel like that's a pretty good list. And again, there's guys that you guys mentioned that I really like, but I just didn't want to double up. But let's get into the mock draft now. And how this is going to work. Everyone, you can open up your mics. You guys do not have to mute because we're going to be on a time limit here. We got to be able to talk. Do your best not to talk over people, but I feel like it'll be better if we're all just kind of going back and forth on what we want to do here. So I'm going to bring this in. We're going to use Pro Football Network here. So let me get this set up. There we go.
We're going to begrudgingly use Pro Football Network.
So we want the Panthers, right? We don't want like the Bears pick. I'm just fucking with you guys.
I mean, hey.
Go to hell, Curtis.
You're choosing violence.
So we're gonna play this. We're gonna run this just kind of like the actual draft. We're gonna have a time limit for each round. And I will pause it along the way so we can kind of analyze where things are falling. So when we get to our pick, we kind of know. But I'll go at a normal speed here and let's get to it.
You know what? I wish you would have let us pick for the Bears so I could have gave them Caden Slovis at number 1.
So this is interesting. I'll stop it at 10 for now. Jaden Daniels goes 3. I don't see that happening tomorrow night. I think he's probably a lock for Washington, but
Washington made the right choice.
Yeah, you're a Drake May guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. Just looking through here. Just Brock Bowers at 7. That seems high.
That's not happening.
Why don't you think that'll happen though? Well, I mean, why?
I think in that position specifically with Tennessee, they need a left tackle terribly. So I think Joe Alt goes there, and I think Brock Bowers is more likely to go to the Jets, in my opinion. I like Brock Bowers a lot. I'm not saying he's not. He doesn't have the talent level to go in the top 10, but I think that the Titans need a left tackle for Will Levis in that offense to function. And Joe Alt is, one of the best left tackle prospects that I can remember coming out of college. So I would say he goes 7.
And I mean, I think Neighbors is a more possibility than Brock Bowers at Tennessee.
I was about to say that for Tennessee, man, don't be shocked if Rome Odunze is sitting there. Don't be shocked if they give it a little bit of a spin of, hey, look, we got Will Levis. Don't we need to get him a perimeter player? This is a pretty deep class with offensive tackle too. They're going to pick in the top half of the second round. Why can't they grab one of those offensive tackles and grab one of these premier franchise wide receivers?
Don't tell Caleb Williams that. He might cry if he doesn't get Odunze.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the one thing you have to consider too is that their OC came from Cincinnati, and he knows the importance of having top flight wide receivers.
That's right.
For his quarterback. So just
they took Jamar Chase over. Yeah.
So just consider that. And I don't care who they pick. Actually, Joe Alt is my guy. But I will say, after watching Joe Alt at Notre Dame, I think he deserves to go in the first round. I do question if he's top 10 though, and I hate saying that because I'm biased for my guys. But I don't think he's as flawless as people would say. I think he has a lot of folks who love him because he comes from NFL pedigree, and so it would surprise me to see.
All right, well, I guess I started it. I apologize. So let's get to 21.
No, Nate Wiggins off the board.
So J.J. McCarthy lands at 11. They didn't have to trade up in this. We'll see if that happens. Sure. We'll see if that happens tomorrow. Malik Neighbors slips to 15. That would shock me if that happened tomorrow night.
I doubt that happens, but yeah.
I want him to go first. I want him to be the first wide receiver taken.
You like him over Marvin Harrison?
Yeah. He's scarier to me. I don't know why. He's just scarier.
No, he definitely does have the higher ceiling, I would say. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is definitely the most pro-ready wide receiver in this draft, but Neighbors has that ceiling that is, like you say, scary for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys want me to play this out. Is there any discussion on us trading up? We might as well just talk through that scenario quickly or here quick. Is that something you guys are interested in doing, or you do not want to get rid of any of our picks?
I don't want
I'm
to
good.
lose any minutes. No.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
I wouldn't. I think if you're looking at 22 right there with the Eagles, if Roma Dunze or Malik Neighbors is sitting there at 22, I might spin the block on that just out of curiosity because I think that they're legitimate. But no, man, keep 33 and 39. Let's get some players.
All right. Hopefully we didn't lose Kevin. I don't see him, but he better be back here shortly because we got our pick coming up. There's no bathroom breaks here when we're coming up in the draft. All right, here we go. So let's play this out. Adonai Mitchell, there he goes to Cowboys.
Powers
Chop
Johnson.
Robinson goes to the NFC South foe. Keon Coleman's off the board.
Oh.
And there goes Worthy.
Worthy lands. Let's just talk about this quickly just so we can show folks so they kind of know where this board is laying out. Kool-Aid went to Tampa. Keon Coleman went in the first round. That has been mentioned as a possibility. I think Tom Pelissero said he could see either Coleman or Leggett go in the first round.
Do you know why Keon Coleman would go in the first round? Because he's a really good football player. he's really good at playing wide receiver, man. And if you watched him during the football season, you thought the same thing. And then a bunch of charts came out and a bunch of testing happened, and people all of a sudden forgot that he's a wide receiver that plays.
Are we worried at all, though, about his separation? Because I know that
No. I mean,
not at all.
If Coleman would have ran a 4.51 or 4.55. Like the whole conversation around here would have been different, you know? And it's crazy that 4.61 made him drop out of first round consideration because when I talk about scary, when I watched Florida State play, Keon Coleman was like one of the scariest dudes I saw on the field this year.
Yep.
Yeah. Terrified.
All right, let's go to our picks. I believe we have a couple trade offers, and I will start this clock. I'm going to start it now. So we have 7 minutes here. So Pittsburgh's offering 51 and a second round pick. So that would recoup what we gave up to the Bears next year. But we drop all the way back to 51. We also have Dallas, which would give us a second and third next year and 56 this year.
Reject both.
You guys don't want any of this.
Hang up the phone.
Because, we're doing the draft for this year. We're trying to build this year. If I'm gonna get multiple picks, I'm gonna get multiple picks in this draft.
Kev, what do you think?
He's on mute. Kev, you're on mute, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't mute him either. I don't know what's going on with that. But so we're gonna reject these.
Yeah.
All right. So we're sitting on the board. Let's look at what we got.
This is one of those situations that Panthers fans really should be prepared for, to be completely honest, because it's kind of like in a vacuum type of situation. This is a worst case scenario. Like look at who's gone and then look at the top of that board. There's no sexy name that you wanted there. Ladd McConkey, is that the sexiest name that's on that board right there?
McConkey, Polk's out there, Leggett we brought in.
Leggett is sexy, bro.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
times.
I guess I meant at the top of that list. You know what I'm saying? When you look at like best available on their rankings, you lose out on Adonai Mitchell, you lose out on Keon, you lose out on Worthy, you lose out on JPJ. Like those are the guys that you're really like, man, let one of them fall, right?
Yeah.
So those are wideouts. Let's look at some of these other positions. Go ahead.
Real quick, go back to quarterback.
No, stop. We don't have time.
No, seriously. Seriously. Go to quarterback. If Michael Penix Jr. is sitting there at 33, we're getting way better trade offers than what we had sent our way, from Pittsburgh and whatever other team it was. Just a note, if he's there at 33, Carolina's going to have some significant trade offers. But what was the next position you were going to?
Yeah, this is center. So we have, obviously, I don't see – I wonder. Jackson Powers Johnson went to Green Bay, so he's not available.
Man, I'll tell you, Zach Frazier, man. There's not a huge discrepancy for me between Zach Frazier and JPJ, and I'm a big JPJ guy, but Zach Frazier is legitimate, dude. Like that is he comes in, man, and he challenges Austin Corbett, and if Austin Corbett does what Austin Corbett has done, he loses a battle, a camp battle, and ends up as a depth piece.
So we got to look at time. We're 2:40 on the clock, so we still got we still got about 4.5 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
This is the edge rusher group here. You got Darius Robinson, DC Isaac, Chris Braswell, a guy that Carolina brought in. Nealon's out there. We got corners. TJ Tampa still available. There's rumors that they really like Saint Ristel from Michigan. Linebacker Cooper is still out there if we are interested. So we got about 4 minutes left, guys. Where are we kind of leaning in positions right now? Obviously, Legette, the darling for Carolina, as it seems, is still there.
I'll say my piece with this. Obviously, we know we need
say it quick.
I will. But Legette is the guy that I heard the coach say this today. If everybody has a consensus around one guy, then you have to figure out where you're going to pick him. Right now on these boards or this board, it may not look like Legette is the best talent, at this number. But if I want to make sure I get my guy, I go get him.
I will just pose this. Do you think you can get Legette at 39 and get a player you wanted ahead of him with these other teams up here? You got New England. They need a wideout. I don't know what they went with their first pick. They went Jaden Daniels. They might want to get him a target. You got Arizona.
Are you doing this based off of what you think Carolina's going to do, or are you doing this based off of what we think is going to build the best team?
It's our mock draft.
Personally, then I would hold off because I think that Legette will be there on this board at 39 in this scenario. Realistically, I could see them taking him, but Zach Frazier, I think, offers too much value. I think that the difference between him and the next center is significant. I don't think that there's a significant difference between Legette, Polk, McConkey, and some of these other guys.
Only thing about Zach Frazier, when I watched this film, the level of competition he played against, he didn't really go up against no killers, like in the SEC, and then he looked some games where he dominates, some games he looked like, competition does, mean a lot. I'm not against Frazier. Don't get me wrong. I just like my centers. If we're going there, I just want them more battle tested as far as the type of competition they face week in and week out. And I'm sorry, West Virginia didn't really face elite defensive lines to really get a gauge. From what I watched on Frazier, because I watched like 6 centers.
So we got I'm just jumping in. We only got a minute and a half left. I want to mention Ladd McConkey because he's there as well.
Ladd McConkey
is out there. I don't know how you guys feel. Obviously, I think Ricky is with Zach Frazier.
I'm Legette, Polk, or Frazier here personally for me.
I'm Legette.
Is Edgar and Cooper still there too? I would even jump at Edgar and Cooper at 33.
So we got 2 for Legette, or I guess 3
Cooper
for
be there
Legette.
at 39. But anyway,
Cooper be there at 39. I'm thinking.
Kevin, what do you think about Legette? Here.
If I had a choice, I'd do Legette at 33, and Cooper at 39. That's just me.
Bryson, are you comfortable with Legette at here? You like McConkey?
McConkey, but I also like Legette. Just that that last year breakout, and I know he's extremely talented with size and speed. I guess, and like Ricky said, they have consensus on him in the building, so Legette would be the pick here.
All right,
his accent would be lovely at press conference. I'm telling you, that accent, man. I want to hear.
I would have gone honestly. I would have gone Ladd here if we didn't go out and get Deontay. That's my honest situation. But ahead of Deontay.
All right, so the clock's running out. I'm going to go with Legette. I apologize, Ricky. Maybe Frazier's still around at 39. And
no apologies necessary, man. I like Legette there, man. Like, really, I do like Legette. Like, I literally just wrote a scouting report on him. I love what he could do.
So there you go. So that's how the board falls, and we're up right here. Let's see what we get for trade. So Denver's offering, I'm sure you guys, I'm not interested in this either, 76.
Nope.
Trash.
Pass.
So Washington, this ain't great either.
Nope.
But, well, I mean, you only lose back 1 pick and you get a 6rounder next year.
I would do that in real life, maybe, but not for this.
Yeah, I would do that in real life too, because what happens if another player is still there at 40 that another team wants? Pick up the 6 and see what happens. I mean, right?
So we're going to reject.
I would do that in real life, but not on here, though.
I would do that in this scenario if it was a 6th-round pick this year.
You do it here?
I would do it here just to see what happens at the next pick. Because, like, look, if there's not a guy that we all have a strong conviction on, right? If we're the front office and we're sitting there in that war room, if there's not a guy that we're looking at and it's at the top of that board and we're like, man, we've really got to get our hands on him. If we miss out on one of the guys available, is there still 4 other guys that you would be interested in here? Probably.
So, well, let's look at the board.
I'm going to be mad at
the
y'all
board.
if they take Edgar Cooper, though. I'm telling you.
Hold on. I'm going to start the clock. I forgot to start it. I forgot to start
Hey, they already
clock.
got Frankie Louvu. They don't want Edrin.
Let's look at some of the picks. So we got Cooper out there, Wilson still available at edge. We got Darius Robinson still out there. Those corners, a couple of the corners.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I like Tampa. Just throwing that out there. We obviously took the wide out center. Frazier is still available here. So there's a couple of guys we've talked about that we like that are still available. I agree with Rick. Yes, I think we take the trade. You're getting a 6th rounder next year, and you're only moving back one spot. And we got a ton of guys left that we like.
You might get a better offer at 42. If there's a team that still wants somebody, maybe you get another enticing one.
So we're going to take Washington. Are we cool with it?
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, just for shit.
I'm throwing over tables if they pick my guy.
All right, let's see it. I can't wait to see JJ wreck his house.
So they took Jordan. Here we go. Okay. So we can move back.
There you go. How about
4 spots, and we get a 2nd rounder next year.
But you also got to give up. You got to give up.
I don't want to give up
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I
didn't see that.
No.
That's our only offer.
Can you counter and try to get like 44 and say like 100 pick from them, like 117 or something like that?
Yeah, they got 112. I'll try
112.
that.
So take off our 101 though. Take off 101 and take off their 2nd, and see if they'll give us that. We'll move 4 back and we get another top 125 pick.
No, these are the Raiders. I say ask for 77.
Ask for 77. Yeah, go for it.
These are the Raiders, too. Man. Come on now.
I'm with that too.
So
look, they were offering us a 2nd. They might give us their 3rd.
I think
right?
we need to try to get that 2nd for next year. I really do. I know you guys are. I know we're not trying to build for that, but if we're really looking at this, I am interested in Carolina getting.
Hey man, that might not have a job.
I'm worried about this year with this mock.
Right.
Don't worry about next year.
So you
go
want
for 77.
Okay, 77.
What's the worst that happens? They say no.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Y'all are playing with Edgar and Cooper, man.
Oh yeah.
Trade was rejected.
They don't want it anymore.
So
all right, well, let's pick a player then. And JJ's gonna blow a gasket, man. If Edgar and Cooper does not get selected here, he's gonna lose. So we do
have Frazier. Frazier's still on the board here. I do like Cooper. I'm not gonna lie. That would be. I would have ran that pick in already. That guy. Is,
hang on, Mr. Cooper. Come on now.
Go for it, man. Go for it, man. I think everyone likes that, right?
Right.
Bryson, you good with that, or you hesitant?
Come on, y'all don't think Dan Morgan don't want to get a linebacker? Come on now.
I like Zach Frazier here. If I'm gonna be honest.
I do too.
I do like Edgar Cooper. I do a lot. But we've talked a lot about Avery and his scheme and him making it work. And I think there's a little bit of talent there, not a lot on the defensive side of the ball at edge. But Zach Frazier, if Corbett goes down, the Panthers are cooked, no matter who they have on the defensive side of the ball. So
what happens when Shaq Thompson goes down? What happens when Jewel goes down?
Oh man, if Shaq Thompson goes down, don't worry. We got what's his name, Sherrillis, that's going to come in, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's easier to mask a linebacker than it is a center in the NFL.
Yes. In the NFL, yeah, but
we're trying to protect our huge investment, our number 1 draft pick, Bryce Young, and I know this is more of an insurance pick here than anything, but Zach Frazier might come in and beat out Corbett and be starter day 1, week 1.
Well, let me say this:
like I said, I just don't.
The talent after the talent drop off after Cooper, and I know we see Peyton Wilson there, but I'm not picking another NC State guy. Number 1, but after Cooper leaves, you might get Colson, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but the drop off after Cooper is more tremendous than the drop off at center.
And I agree. I mean, you still got a guy out there like Bordolini that he could learn behind Corbett. You can get him in a later round, and he's got position.
And you got Kevin's guy, Cedric Van Prant. So I mean, look, I'm not saying that like I'm married to Zach Frazier. I am a lot higher on Zach Frazier than Kevin is. I also think there is a realistic possibility that Zach Fraser's gone in round 1, if you want to know my honest opinion. It's just going to depend on how teams value these guys. But for the sake of this one, I do like Cedric Van Pran. I have Tanner Bortolini actually ranked above him. Bortolini's my center 3. So I'm totally comfortable rolling the dice and going with Edgar Cooper here because I agree entirely about that talent gap after Edgar Cooper.
Well, Curtis, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm David Tepper, and I'm going with Edgar Cooper here. I think he's a lock for me. So
what kind of music is Edgar Cooper going to play at Bank of America Stadium?
All right, there it is. The pick is in.
Hey,
now I will be. Is there any? Do you guys want to move up at all in this? If
not now, Jalen Polk just got drafted. I don't want to move up.
Let's just keep our picks. Let's just keep.
Frazier just went up the road from West Virginia to the Steelers.
Yeah, so this is Bo Nix.
See, look, man, if Zach Frazier ends up playing on that offensive line in Pittsburgh, he's going to become some sort of a legend, right? Like that just seems like it's very, very set in stone.
But man, look at the Panthers logo beside Cooper when you go and look through the picks. It just looks
good.
Look at it.
Yeah, it looks good.
Look at that. Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, we'll keep this thing rolling.
Man, y'all made JJ so happy tonight, dude. He got Xavier Legette and Edgar Cooper.
This is beautiful.
But your boy from Michigan, this corner just went. What do you think
Mike
of him?
Sanders,
he's going way higher than that.
Yeah, he's going to go higher than that.
Yeah, because he's replacing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who went back to the Eagles. Because
I will say. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say in real life, if we're sitting at 65 and San Francisco is there at 61, I can see a scenario where we might try to package something and move up for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Package what? We're bare already.
Well, we got 2 fifths, right? And we have 2 fifths.
2 fifths.
Yeah, we got that 6 next year. Next year we just picked up.
All right, so here we go.
You go.
We're all right. I'm starting the clock. We only got 5 minutes here, so we got to make this. So Tampa Bay, we're not interested.
No, fuck around.
That's appealing to me, but I get it. Fuck.
I'm not trading with Tampa. I don't care what they're offering.
No, I hear you.
Are you sure? I mean, we're getting
2 top 100 picks, man.
I agree. I mean,
you know what the talent level? You know what the talent level gap? Yeah, but look, you get 2 of them, and all we're giving up is 240. You know who you're going to draft at 240?
No one.
Precisely. You're getting a special guy that probably
Show me the board. Show me the board.
All right, let's look at the board here.
It's in our division. It's just a rule that you don't trade within your division.
Yeah, that's a bad rule. I mean, there's been great trades.
What happens when they pick Ben Sinnett?
You got Ben Sinnett out here.
Ben Sinnett, and
we
then
felt the same way when they drafted O.J. Howard. How'd that work?
Jonathan Brooks is still out there on offense. Corley's
Malachi
still out
Corley.
there.
Oh, I love me some Malachi Corley.
Braswell's out there on
He's
the
a
edge.
yak monster.
A beast.
We got
go back to the edge real quick.
There's your edge. Austin Booker's still out there.
Nice. There's your boy.
Yeah.
Braswell's the one that's going to take the torch from Clowney when he rides off into the sunset.
Yeah, I like Braswell. I think that he's a good ball player. He doesn't get enough credit either. I do like him. But go back to center again.
Center. Let's see.
Yeah, we need to look at
Van
my
Pran's
boy.
still there.
Bortolini, I think, is going to be there for a bit. I think he'll go higher than.
And then real quickly, if I can ask one more favor, can you go to the defensive tackle for defense?
Jenkins is still available.
I like Michael Hall Jr. a lot too, man. When JJ was talking about that vertical pass rush, Michael Hall Jr. man has a really nice interior pass rush.
What number was he for Ohio State? What number did he wear?
Oh man,
these college guys.
He was a weird number. Yeah, he was a weird number, man. I can't. Let me look that up. Hold on, I've got my database.
Because I remember they did have a dog in the interior.
It was Michael.
He was 51.
51. Yep.
He was 51.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It might have been him.
He's really good, man.
Yeah.
He's a bit undersized. That's going to be the knock
Fisk
on
right
him.
there too.
And Fisk is there as well. Yep.
No problem. None of those are noses though. Those are like 3 techniques.
You know, Kevin, what I would ask you, because I agree with you on the nose thing. I was really upset with the Marquand McCall situation last year. I thought that was one of the detriments of the defense. And it didn't make any sense to me. But you know what? I really get this sense, man, that Evero does not value a true zero technique nose tackle in his defense because of the odd fronts that he runs. The nose is going to play probably like 15% of snaps in his defensive front. I think it still has a ton of value, and I think that he should be playing it more, to be completely honest, with his coverages that he likes to run and his disguises back there on the back end. But I don't get the feeling that he emphasizes it and prioritizes it. They like Shy Tuttle for some reason at that position.
But my counter to that would be, though, you seen how we getting gashed in the run game, particularly up the middle.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
smoked.
All right, guys, we got less than 2 minutes here. Are we thinking trade? Or are we gonna take this pick and take a selection?
So I think most people don't want to do the trade because they don't like the interdivision thing. So I'm okay with that. But if I was gonna throw my weight around on this one, you got Xavier Legette. I would look at Ben Sinnott very seriously here because I think that there's tremendous value at 65. I think that Cedric Van Pran Granger is a good center, really quality guy. I think Bortolini isn't far off from him. I actually have him ranked higher. So I think that Sinnott is the clear tight end talent available right there.
We also have Brooks. I really like Brooks. He's out there. We're not getting him.
It's my running back one, man. He's this pass blocker running back.
He's my running back one, too.
Where's Blake Corum?
Let me ask you this. I mean, since none of y'all are a fan of DJ Johnson, I mean, Braswell's sitting right there.
Yeah.
I mean, we already said Wanham. We already said Wanham is not really. He's a opportunity. He's not going to force.
We got 45 seconds. We got to make something happen.
Just to throw it out there.
Yeah, no, Kevin makes a good point too.
It's between Braswell and Sinnott. Pick one.
Sinnott.
Yeah.
I'm going offense. That's Sinnott for me.
I could take Sinnott.
Yeah, I would go Sinnott here.
All right, so you get Bryson's other weapon. Every young quarterback needs a good tight end.
And you know what, man? He also provides some blocking as well, man. You want to talk about the run game. And Kevin, you brought up Jatavian Sanders in the lead blocking role out of like the H-back position for Texas. That's where Sinnott began, right? That's where he got that's where he cut his chops, man.
Look at all my players.
Braswell went to the division in Tampa.
Yeah,
Michael Hall.
Oh my God, this hurts.
I think you'll be all right.
Spencer Rattler's a Brown. Pearsall just went.
Wow, that's super early for Bucky.
Pearsall. Oh, I love Pearsall.
Hey, you also got Javon Baker though, man, and Bryson. I'm with you 100% on Javon Baker. And what's really funny is that y'all hate on Jalen Polk so much, and everything you were sitting there waxing poetically about Javon Baker is real similar to Jalen Polk.
I've struggled to see it, but Ricky,
I know.
All right, so we're getting a lot of picks. So do we want 101 for 120, 161, 210?
Nope.
No, it's a bunch of pennies.
Not really. No.
All right, so we're going to reject that. So here is our board. Let's see.
I like Sweat right there.
I like Sweat a lot.
Yeah, I like Sweat.
Sweat got some DUI pending.
Yeah,
I know.
Sweat got some legal issues.
Was that Dominic Puny that was on there too?
Yep.
Dominic Puny's probably going to end up transitioning to center, and he's one of those guys that hit that threshold for the short shuttle.
Bortolini's still there,
and Bortolini's there too.
Hey, look, but my other darling is still on the board, but I mean, I don't have to get another darling.
You've already got your share. Who's your other darling, JJ?
I know.
Hey,
Jermaine Burton. Jermaine Burton is right there, man. Like I like Jermaine Burton.
Go to
wide receiver from Alabama.
Yeah, Bama's receiver Burton.
Oh yeah, I'm last 2 weeks I started mocking him. Like I said, I would not be afraid to double dip and get Jermaine Burton.
Guys, we have not touched center yet.
Yep.
Let's throw that out there.
I love the top four receivers there, than throwing Jalen Baker. Oh my gosh.
What's cornerback
Let me
look
throw
like?
a guy, Bryson, you brought up a guy I like. Can you go to running back real quick?
This is corners. Kalen.
Oh yeah, Blake Corum.
No. The other guy you mentioned, from Wisconsin, Braylon.
Oh, that's who I mentioned. Damn it, Braylon Allen, baby.
I'm gonna tell you who you remind me of. Did y'all pay attention to Jonathan Stewart's film in Oregon? That's who Braylon Allen reminds me of when he runs. He's about 235. Stewart's about 240. Not quite as fast, but I mean, we talk about what, a tenth of a second, because Stu ran like a 4.5. He runs like a 4.6. I mean, you get 235 pounds moving, people gonna make business decisions. And we've been hollering for the longest. We've been hollering. We don't have that power, that short yardage. I mean, he can.
We don't have it.
Hey, but look,
Get that. You can get
Estime's
that free agency.
Estime's right there too. Don't sleep on my boy.
Who?
Yeah, we
Who,
know you like
Audric
your Notre
Estime?
Dame. Yeah, he likes his
Don't
Notre
sleep
Dame
on
product.
Estime.
I like Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd, and Jalen Wright better as a 3-down back and a home run threat for both of those. I like Braylon Allen and Estime. One thing that they would fit here in this scheme is that both of them need a runway to really get going. They're not lateral movers. They're not going to create on their own necessarily. You give them a runway though, and it's almost impossible to stop them. They're
Nobody
not
wants to tackle
terrific.
them.
Exactly. Nobody wants to get in front of him. Kevin was saying he's going to make a lot of business decisions if you get that guy full speed ahead of you. They're not terrific in pass protection, and they're not prolific pass catchers. So for what I think we would be looking at, if you're still going to commit to Chuba and he's going to be part of a committee, you got to upgrade that pass protection. So I would just keep that in mind when I'm looking at the running back position.
Now, what do you think about Jalen Wright in pass pro? Because I do like him.
Yeah, I like Jalen Wright in pass pro. Tennessee has like this, what is it? Kind of a goofy offense where it's kind of hard to really evaluate a lot of their skill players because of what they run schematically. But his ability to pass pro, and that's why he was on the field as a 3-down feature back, is legitimate. It carries over. He's not he's not a 6 blocker, right? Like there are some guys that are legitimately like that's what they do, and they make their money as a blocker in pass pro. He's adequate, man, and he's going to chip. He's going to get a helmet on somebody, and that's all you can really ask for in a guy that also runs like 4.35 and can take anything to the house.
Curtis, go to center real quick.
Center. Bortolini, folks.
I like Bortolini. I love Bortolini a lot, man.
Yeah.
We got to get a center, dude.
Because if we pass, the only other one I like after this one would be like Bo Leamer out of Arkansas.
Yeah, I like Matt Lee and Hunter Nozar.
I haven't heard of any of these guys after him. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Put like this: Bo Leamer follows the same lineage as Ragnow did, coming from Arkansas. He has a lot of similarities to Ragnow's with an all pro.
Yep.
So
well, we got 1 minute here on this clock.
I do like Bortolini a lot. Bortolini is my center 3, just for perspective of my personal rankings.
Well, if you don't go Burton, then you can pick who you want.
I think we really have to address center. I agree with Curtis. I agree with Ricky. I think Bortolini, and then it drops off after him on this board. We passed on Zach Frazier. Bortolini does probably need to sit a year. Hopefully, Corbett can last that long, at least.
He's in the last year of his contract too, right? If I'm not mistaken, 3-year contract.
Yeah,
that's right. So Bortolini just slides right in. I think he's the pick here.
I've got Bortolini ranked overall on my big board as the 89th best prospect. So there's value according to like how I graded them out, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I always look at too when you get into that 100 range is what value are you getting and what is the drop off afterwards.
Well, our clock just ran out, so I picked them. There you go. So it's Bortolini 101.
That's a good pick.
Well, we're getting back to back here next, right? 141 and 142. So maybe we've got some opportunity here.
Has Javon Baker went yet?
So,
yeah, I think Baker went earlier. I don't even think he was available at 101.
I haven't seen him yet. Baker.
Yeah,
I thought he went before 101. I didn't see him on the list.
Mustafa just went. That's another guy Carolina was looking at. Cam Hart.
They go Cam Hart.
Cam Hart.
Estime is gone. Y'all killed me, man.
Oh,
we got you, Cooper.
You got Xavier Legette, Edgar, Cooper.
Bill's got Cowan. Dang.
Baker just went.
This hurts.
All right, so Denver is offering. We'd move back 4, but we gain in the what is that? The 6th round.
Go to the board first before accepting that.
Yeah.
Because that's an appealing trade, but I would love to see if there's anybody that just kind of lingered.
Dylan Loeb,
Jalen Wright,
Davis, man. I love Ray Davis too, man.
Ray Davis a good one.
Yeah, I like.
I don't know about. I need his. Give me the lowdown on Ray Davis here.
Well, so he played at Kentucky, right? And Kentucky was abysmal offensively. Ray Davis literally carried that team. 3-down back, a lot of agility. He can bounce it to the outside. But he's a physical guy. Now, where he's going to really stand out, I think, in the NFL more than he did in college, is as a pass catcher. This dude has legitimate route running and hands. Like, you want to talk about a running back that could potentially even line up in the slot every now and then if you go empty. which I think the Canales will like to do every so often, I think that he's a real weapon in that position. Good ball security, great contact balance. I just think that he's got that NFL build, man, and he's got a really tough backstory from a personal standpoint with adversity and things that he's overcome. I always have an affinity for players that have overcome a shit ton of stuff. Like Xavier Legette is a great example.
Yes,
that it tells you, man, that he's got a makeup. That when things get tough in the NFL, he's not going to fold.
And we have not picked. Okay, we haven't picked a running back yet. All right.
They brought Brendan Rice in on a 30 visit, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's still out there. You got Luke McCaffrey. Get another McCaffrey. Just replace
go to the offensive tackles real quick. Javon Foster's a guy that I would be enticed by there because I don't know about anybody else here on this board. I'm not sure that Icky is the answer. He might be, and I want him to be more than anything. But if he's not, and we just did this bolstering of the interior, we just got Bortolini to grow and develop behind Corbett. What do you do if your franchise left tackle has 5 abysmal games to start the season?
Well, I think you play the guy that we got from Green Bay. I think we get the guy that we got from the Green Bay. The swing.
Yoshi.
Yeah.
Does anyone know anything about Cha Smith-Wade?
Oh, the Washington State guy?
That's the cornerback, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nickel out of Washington State.
So we have not taken a corner yet either. So that's another position that I know we all mentioned was something to look at. Running back.
What is a corner? What is a
glaring need? It's
drafting is hard, man. It's hard.
I like Elijah Jones from Boston College. Elijah Jones is a guy that has a lot of really good ball skills, good size and speed. So if you're talking about a boundary corner that can kind of learn and maybe sit behind Dane Jackson, but if he needs to come in and fill out one of those positions, he's a ball hawk. And Canales talked about, or Morgan talked about, needing to create turnovers. That's Elijah Jones falls in that mold.
That CFL prospect, I've seen stuff about him being a riser.
We're at 2 minutes.
Stiggers.
Well, I'm not picking any of these corners right here. I think I'm looking at running back still, and we still need a home run hitter. I mean, at the end of the day, Truba's a good, 4 or 5, yard guy. He might break for 15 or 20, but he's not making anybody miss at the second level. I want a guy who can take it the distance. Right seems like the last guy available who might do that. Lloyd can do that too. I don't know your guy, Ray Davis, so I can't speak on him, but I trust. I've seen Wright play. I've seen Marshawn play.
Check this Stiggers guy. Look at his Raz. Look at that Raz. That's pretty damn good.
Lloyd is a great home run hitter, and he's also a weapon out of the backfield. My only concern with Marshawn Lloyd is ball security because Canales emphasized protecting the ball on offense and taking it away on defense. Marshawn Lloyd has a severe case of the fumbles.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean, if y'all are okay with Wright, I'm okay with Wright, but we got back-to-back picks, so
yeah, we got a little bit of time here.
I say go with Wright. He's probably my favorite running back left right now.
Yep.
And then we can reassess. Go corner.
Wright's my running back 3. I like him a lot.
He's your running back. What?
He's my running back 3. Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, and then Jalen Wright.
Dang, you're low on Blake Corum.
Blake Corum is my running back 5.
Ugh.
That's not low, man.
That's
RB1.
So are we going with Jalen right here? Is that the consensus?
Yes.
I like it. Yeah.
And then we can reassess.
Yep.
All right. So we got another offer. Not great.
Thank you.
No, not great.
I'll reject that. So we're sitting here again.
Okay, now go to the other position group. Let's go.
We have
see who the best
defensive edge. Go to defensive edge and see if Mo Kamara is still there.
I like Ellis. I like Ellis, man.
Yeah. You got an affinity for you like Ellis because he reminds you of Brian Burns with that spin move, man. You just miss Brian. I know you.
Who did they have at corner?
You can't discount the sack numbers, man. The guy
we saw Stiggers at corner, right? Is that what?
Yeah, but I think we can get him later on.
He's a riser, man. I don't know. I just read an article about him that he is rising up.
Yeah, but based off this board, he's at just based off of how they do this, he's at 174. Fair. We can probably get him later on.
Well, you don't have another pick until 240.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, go ahead and pull up long
So
snappers.
maybe so wait, should you consider then that trade?
I already
Did you reject it? Oh, Tepper. God, you just
Tepper
did such a
veto.
Tepper thing.
It was a Tepper veto.
That was so
Hey,
Tepper of you, man.
Can we see the all real
Yeah.
quick?
Hey,
Kevin, do you know anything about Tyke Smith?
Safety out of Georgia.
Tyke Smith out of Georgia, a little bit, not a lot. He could play either the free or the strong, so he is interchangeable. But I really don't know enough to feel confident enough to say, hey, go get him.
Okay. Yeah, I know you be watching.
Brendan
Georgia.
Rice is still there.
so guys,
Brendan Rice is still there.
we
Let's
have,
get
we have 2 picks left. Hold on. We have 2 picks left. We have not addressed the cornerback position, and we only have 2 picks. And the last pick is a throwaway, basically.
Corner is fine.
That's because Stephen Gilmore is on standby.
Yeah.
Y'all saw how they lit up and smiled, like.
True.
And it will be a 2-year deal, just to give y'all a heads up.
I would. Okay, I would get Brendan Rice right there. Tell you the truth.
Yeah,
if we're lucky enough to still have him right there, I think he's the best player at this.
Absolutely, he's the best player
At this
available.
number. Yeah,
So Brendan Rice, the
young to Rice, baby, throwback.
yeah.
I'll push
Well, are we
back
really
just a
doing that
second.
because he's that good, or just off
A
the name recognition?
throwback. Yeah. That's what I'm asking.
I like Brendan. I like Brendan a lot. I think he's a good ball player, but I would just push back that he's the best one on the board. I think that when you look at that edge rushing room, when you really look at it, if you're looking for a complementary piece, when you have a true pass rush down, which look, we're going to face a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like we're going to need something. There's going to be a big drop off between even Jonah Ellis. Jalix Hunt is a guy that I like. He transitioned from safety. 6'4", 235 pounds. He's explosive. I mean, he's raw, so he's scratching the surface, but he's got a lot of tools from a pass rush arsenal. But Mo Kamara is a guy that I just have a really hard time overlooking, man. Like that dude is a ball player. If you watch the Colorado State-Colorado game when Prime and his guys were jacked up to face the in-state rival, Kamara came in there and he just was a wrecking ball against Colorado. And this is a smaller dude as far as height, but he's almost 250 and he's got really long arms. Hot motor. So again, he's just my kind of player. But if you liked Marquise Haynes and you thought that he could take that step, Kamara kind of falls in a similar vein as Marquise Haynes.
Now, I'm going to put y'all on to some because I'm making an assumption y'all probably don't watch. If you scroll down a little bit, I think he might be 240. Plays for Grambling State, Sundiata Anderson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, that is a guy right there. Think of someone that got a bend. I'm not saying very similar to Brian Burns as far as being able to get up under. When I say a relentless, does not take any plays off type of guy, he's the one that's going to, catch the running back running away from him. Like he's a guy that you're going to have to work with his hands a little bit to disengage as far as a little bit with the pass rush, but he has pass rush moves, but he just needs some refining. Like in that position, learning behind Clowney for the 2 years, because I think everybody ain't really not sold on DJ Johnson, but he's just someone at 240 that I think, if we don't go edge here, would be someone that would be worthy of that pick. Because I know, a lot of people don't watch Grambling State, but
yeah.
No,
I think there's going to be a handful of prospects that are on this list that NFL teams are going to view differently, just for what it's worth. Gabriel Murphy out of UCLA, Brennan Jackson out of Washington State. I think that both of them are going to be more NFL coveted than fans realize too.
At the defensive tackle, Makai Wingo.
Yep.
What do you guys think about him?
That's that vertical pass rush that you were talking about, man. That is a smaller, more compact, dense frame. Doesn't have the length, doesn't have necessarily he's kind of like alignment versatile, but almost by way of where is he supposed to play, right? It's not so much that he's great at any of them, but where are you supposed to put him? He's a little bit of a tweener as opposed to versatile, in my opinion. But he's got some ability, man, and he could get after the quarterback from that interior alignment.
What's his size? What's his
it's like
his height?
6'2", 290, I believe.
6 foot 284.
Oh, so yeah.
No, that may not be his combine. I don't know if that's his combine measurement. So hold up.
He has to be quick if he's.
Hey, another guy that's similar. Love it out of Florida State.
Yeah, I know Love it. Yeah, I know Love it.
Yeah, he's 6 foot 284. That was his combine. 77 and 7/8 wingspan. So I mean, he just doesn't have great length, and that's really what it was. But his quickness, man, he's got like a 1.64 10-yard split. So he gets off pretty quickly on that 40. That was his split.
All right, we got less than we got 30 seconds here. What are we going?
Well, I would go corner, wingo, or Rice. I mean, and
they brought Brendan Rice in for a 30 visit. They've shown interest. He's a position of need. I understand corner is too. Gilmore's sitting there. He's going to sign with the Carolina Panthers. I think it's just a matter of time. I think Rice is the best pick here, in my opinion.
All right, we're going to go with Rice because we just ran out of time. There it is.
We're heavily offensive.
Yeah, we are. We got
one
defensive pick.
This has been about Bryce.
Well, that's good. When the last didn't we do a whole draft where it was all defensive players? So I mean,
but Matt Rule, we see how that turned out.
Yeah, that's not always the greatest method. Well, let's see when we can get it here at 240.
The Lions got Theo Johnson.
Hey, bro, you coming?
Long snapper. We got to look at long snapper. Don't forget.
Hey,
the Lions already got Laporta. They just added Theo Johnson. The Lions are going to be a cheat code.
What about Kev was talking about wanting that nose tackle. There's a guy that could be available at 240 that I am significantly higher on than consensus.
He's from Mississippi State, I think.
Oh, McKinley Jackson I like a lot, but I think he'll be gone. My guy's Evan Anderson out of Florida Atlantic. That's the true zero technique nose tackle as well, man. And I think that he's got some real NFL play to him.
Love it just went.
Kamara just went. I was hoping that he fell.
Joe Milton. Damn.
Raiders got two quarterbacks. Damn.
Can throw an orange to from end zone to end zone.
It will be the Raiders to draft two quarterbacks in a draft.
The other thing to keep in mind with this pick at 240, a lot of times you're looking at it of where can they make the roster, right? Because you could draft a nose tackle here, you could draft a skill position guy, but they're going to need to play special teams. So what impact can they have on the special teams?
Anais Smith
in this situation. If Anais is there, I bet Anais is gone though.
He just went.
He just went to the Bengals.
That's terrible.
Just went.
Good thing we got Rice.
Oh man. So who's the best defensive player?
What was that D tackle you were talking about, Ricky?
Evan Anderson out of Florida Atlantic.
Evan Anderson.
You got Sandiata.
Jaden.
There he is.
There you go, Jaden. The one I was talking about out of Mississippi State.
Where's
Jaden
Evan Anderson right here. Here we go.
There's Evan Anderson right there.
Jaden Crometti is a good one too.
Yeah.
We got to rely on our scouts here.
Hey, look, we're in undrafted free agent zone. By the way,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm out of this discussion. I'll be the one to pick. I don't know half these guys anymore.
I don't either.
Pretend I do.
And one thing I want to mention.
Yeah,
one thing I want to mention, before we get finished, and we'll make this last pick, but I think a key component for roster building, at least until week 4 or 5, is we'll be number 1 in the waiver wire because of how much we sucked this past year. And so, when people start dropping good players in the summer, maybe even after the draft, if they waive them, then we'll have first dibs. So that's something to consider.
I just really hope Dan Morgan, and I don't think he will, but do the move like we mentioned before about Marquand McCall, just out of nowhere, no one expecting it. Yep. I hope we're beyond that now because Fitter was always doing that. You just a head scratcher pick or a move that you're like, what in the hell are you doing? So,
who's the best edge left?
That Grambling State guy still out there. That's Kev's guy.
Let's go HBCU, man. I mean, we just gotta pick a guy. I mean, he's the 7th round pick. If he comes in and shocks the world, then he becomes a fan favorite. He makes the roster.
He hit his file real quick.
Yes.
6'4". He is Brian Burgess. He has a low RAS though.
Look, Matt Rue done killed my excitement about the Raz. I could give a damn about the Raz. Now, we had a great track team, but no, come on now. Don't forget, we picked Troy Pride because of his Raz. So.
What about the Evan Anderson guy?
I'm good with either one.
He's a big ass dude.
320.
I mean, he's a legitimate nose. That's what he does. He's gonna require two guys. He's gonna be a block eater. He's gonna free up your linebackers, but there's also going to be a learning curve for him. He played at Florida Atlantic, and he's coming in as a 7th round pick. Like, he's not going to come in and immediately impact that defensive line. But my train of thought with bringing in a guy like him late like this, what happens if Evero sees in practice and in camp the difference of his defense when they have a big body like that in the middle, right? Does he see enough where he says, okay, maybe Evan Anderson isn't the guy, but maybe there's a free agent that's sitting there somewhere that he likes better and says, all right, you know what? You've kind of changed my mind a little bit. I want to bring in a zero technique to kind of bolster this middle of the defense on these.
Can you hit the file for Crumby for me? Jaden Cromedy. 63301. Okay.
I would say. Yeah, I would say
we also have not addressed. I know you guys are on the Gilmore train, but we have not addressed that.
Don't you got Eric
either.
Watts? Wasn't Eric Watts on there from Texas? I'm pretty sure I saw him
from UConn.
Oh, wow. There's a guy Watts. Ryan Watts maybe is a guy from Texas. Okay. If he's still there, if you go to corner to see if the guy from Texas is still there. No, must have took him.
No, we down in the 300s now.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's a guy that will be low. But and I know that we don't like RAS, but in this situation, you're looking for a guy that could pop, and an RAS isn't a bad way to look at it and say if he's going to be a special teams guy, can he also bring something significant athletically to the team?
Yeah, can he play all 4 units basically?
Right, exactly, man.
How about Marcellus Dow? Like, what's this? Can we click on this file to see what his measurables are?
Don't sleep on Boodle either. I think that guy. I think he's got some potential.
The Caprio.
What do you think his potential is, Curtis? I want to hear this.
Let's just say I've heard a little birdie told me that this staff really likes Boodle.
Likes him, yeah. They also really like Shy Tuttle. They also really like DJ Johnson.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's Curtis's favorite player.
I mean, hey, look, I'm just throwing that out there though, that like it is fair to say that
we can question
Dan Morgan. This isn't Dan Morgan's team. This isn't the guys that he picked single-handedly, but he was in the room. So I'm not going to completely absolve him. I'm also not going to blame him. But the defensive staff is the same defensive staff. And those guys had say in bringing those players in. And they had say in getting rid of Marquand McCall. So I'm still a little bit hesitant to say that they're the best staff for evaluating talent currently.
That's fair.
I agree.
Okay.
I definitely would pick.
We ran out of time on the 240 pick. Who do we want? Here?
I would pick Sundiata Anderson or the cornerback.
Go with Kev's guy. Go with Sundiata Anderson, man.
Yeah. Let's give our defensive coordinator his guy.
Let's show that we got some love for the HBCUs,
And let him come in and battle, man. Competition is great, man. You got a hungry guy like that maybe didn't know that he was even going to get a look. Let him get drafted and come in there with a chip on his shoulder, man.
I'm with it.
I think the way our roster set up, even after the draft, we can sign like 13 undrafted free agents.
Don't forget, we got that Washington 6th round pick.
That's the sweetener, baby. Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Hey, that's come from Louisville.
I guess I'll be shot back here this time. We better have that pick on the board when we come back next year, too.
So how are we looking at it now? How are we feeling? Like, on a serious note, are we feeling good about this draft? Or like, holy shit, we missed on someone here.
If I can start off, I'll give this real quick note, and then I want to let everyone do their analysis. But this real quick note is when I look at the Los Angeles Rams draft of last year, and JJ, you and I recently spoke about this. They were praised about how well of a draft they had, right? About how great they did. They got very fortunate by hitting Puka in the 5th. But before that, what they did terrifically, they didn't have a 1st-round pick. They nailed their 2nd-round pick, and they nailed their 2 3rd-round picks, right? That's what we have to do in this draft, in my opinion. You have to nail 33 and 39, and you got to nail 65. Everything else after that, honestly, is sweetener if you hit one of them. I think if you look at Xavier Legette, the skill set he brings, Edgar and Cooper, the impact that he brings, and then Ben Sinnott, a whole new dimension to the offense, I think that's nailing those 3 picks, in my opinion.
I agree. I think if those top 3 and potentially top 4 picks end up being starters, like within the first 2-3 seasons that they're here, then you nailed this draft. Obviously, you drafted Leggett, there because of what we've heard, right? If there's real fire to that smoke, then Canales, he has a real vision for the things that Xavier can do in this offense, and so he will get reps early. Cooper, I think, would come in and instantly probably be the most talented off-ball backer on the roster. Speed, everything else, youth. I think he would get reps early if they're being fair to him. And I think Sinnott, obviously, I think you said this, didn't you, Ricky, when we spoke earlier? You said that Sinnott is who everybody thought Trimble could be, right?
That's what Matt Waldman said. Matt Waldman said if you want a local tie for Sinnott, is all the hype about what Trimble could develop into is what Sinnott already is. And that when all that love was going to Michael Mayer in that draft period, a lot of that attention should have went to Ben Sinnott because he played a better game.
And that's what I take away from our top 3. And if those 3 end up being true, then I think we nailed this draft. I mean, these other guys, I think Bortolini could end up being a starter too, but if Jalen Wright could come in and even be like a change of pace back, somebody who can let us move off of Miles Sanders next year or let Chuba walk, then we hit on that. Brendan Rice, I think, when you look at our wide receiver room, I think he could easily come in and move Terrence Marshall Jr. off the roster. He's younger, he's fresh. And then Sundiata Anderson, like you say, we don't expect him to necessarily make the roster, but if he can come in and compete and be better than the other edges who we're not highly confident in on this roster, then good for him. But I don't think that this is a bad draft. Obviously, we missed some guys early because we needed Ben Sinnott, right? So I think we got stuck having to draft for need, but getting the best player for need in Sinnott and Bortolini, because we were scared of what wouldn't be there later. So there were some guys that we missed by going after those guys, but I think we did pretty good because we leave here knowing that we got guys who can play positions that we need guys in. So I'm good.
I want to say this. I think Cooper is our safest pick. I think you're getting from him in this draft. I just wanted to pose this question because we haven't really talked about it, and I do think the interest is real there, is Legette. Do you guys have any concern? And again, I do like him as a prospect. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Do you have any concern with the 1-year production and this guy being compared to Metcalf, just like kind of Mingo was last year? Is there any concern at all with him, with you guys? And I'll just open that to the floor. I kind of know where Bryson stands on this, but I'm just curious.
With Legette?
Yeah.
I think for him, I really think it's going to be less about him and more about the quarterback. And I hate being that guy. But I think Legette is one of those guys that if he went to Kansas City, then he's like this breakout star that everybody's like happy to see succeeding with a great quarterback, and nobody thinks about where he was drafted, right? But because he comes to Carolina, and we may have to reach for him a bit if he, depending on how you value him. If he comes to Carolina and he doesn't look great early in the scheme, he's not getting the balls, and it just the offense still looks dysfunctional. I think it would be less about him as a player and more about our situation, and that's a conversation that we'll need to have next year. I do think Bryce is going to be better in year 2. I think Canales is going to be good for him, and I think Legette is going to produce if that's their guy, because I think Canales has guys that does very specific things. And if Leggett has been there in Charlotte 4 times, I think a lot of that was just to make sure that he's coachable to who they need him to be. And I think they needed reassurances, and that's why they kept bringing him back. Like, okay, we need to make sure that you are truly the guy that we can coach up to be the guy that we envision you being in this particular offense. And I think they're okay with what they've seen. And if they pick him, we'll know for sure that he is. So the late production doesn't make sense. I think Brett Coleman, I think that's his name, he did like an excellent breakdown to explain why the production came so late.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I think what speaks more about who he is right now is who is it, Jim Nagy for the Senior Bowl?
Yeah.
How high he spoke of him down in Mobile, and the people who saw him up close. I think that's what says more about who he is now and his potential than the people who are worried about why he was bad or didn't produce early in the bad South Carolina offense. And so yeah, I think if they make the decision to pick him, especially with other guys on the board, for this situation, I think I would just have to trust Dave Canales. Not even Dan Morgan. I think I just have to trust Dave Canales and his vision.
I like Xavier Leggett, and I don't have ultra concern about him, but it's a fair concern when you talk about him just recently expanding that route tree. This was his first year of really taking on a nuanced route tree, and there was a mixed level of success with that. He showed flashes of being able to do things athletically that a guy his size that carries that weight shouldn't really be able to do as well as he could, right? When you talk about like his hip sinkage to be able to sell a vertical route, stop and make a sudden cut, he showed the ability to do it. He's not consistent with it. His feel for the field still isn't 100% there. That shows up a lot on run blocking assignments. He will move past his target, and then he tries to come back and get somebody on the back end. And that's a very difficult way of trying to go about that. It's just less effective. You have a less likely impact there on that play. I know that, Curtis, you posted the clip of Edgar and Cooper, actually, one of our other draft picks, knifing through that South Carolina defense and going through 4 different offensive blockers to get to the receiver. The blocker assignment on that play was Xavier Leggett, and he ran past Cooper. He just moved past his mark a little bit. That's something that shows up on his tape, but it's also like we talked about with his 1-year production. And JJ, you bring up Brett Coleman. I wrote about it in my profile that I just put out for Leggett. He was a wide receiver when he came into high school, and then they moved him to quarterback his senior year because he was such an athlete, and he had a good year. He put up a ton of rushing yardage, but that was a stunt to his development, right? At a pivotal moment. Then he comes in and he essentially, I think he gray shirts at his freshman year, and then COVID hits after that. He loses both of his parents between 2015 and 2019. And he's a young dude that had never taken a college snap before he loses both of his parents, right? And then you look at the talent around him. And he had a motorcycle accident where he had some injuries. I think he missed 2 games, but maybe his play was affected. There's a lot that goes into it that wasn't just hey, man, he was on the field and he never produced. When he got his shot with a real quarterback in Spencer Rattler, and that opinion on Spencer could be what it is, but he's a good college quarterback with a live arm. He produced, man, and he produced in a major way. So if we like Bryce Young and we like Dave Canales, there is reason to think that they can get that much out of him and more.
Kevin, any reservations about Leggett? Because, I mean, all signs are pointing to this guy is going to be a Carolina Panther this week. I wholeheartedly believe that. But what's your thoughts on Leggett?
I have 0 reservations on Leggett. Now, are there parts of his game that can be worked on? Definitely. Sure. I mean, we wasn't expecting, whoever we drafted wide receiver first to, be the bona fide, number 1 guy coming in. So, but as far as for me, the things that, Ricky brought up that he can improve on, those are all coachable things. That's not like something that we're going to get stuck wondering if he's going to ever get better. And I'm just so glad that we got rid of Sean Jefferson as our wide receiver coach.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
You didn't like him suiting up in a helmet and
Bruh, man.
Well, and by all accounts too,
and
Xavier's a really coachable dude, and he's a hard worker. So what Kevin brings up about these being coachable things, Xavier's going to do his part there. By every report that you hear about him, he's going to do what he's asked, man.
Yeah, who did that guy think he was anyway? Getting rid of Shy Smith like he did.
Oh boy, let's not open that Pandora
Hey, Curtis, real quick.
One more thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, Kevin, go ahead and finish your.
Yeah, and I was just gonna wrap up by saying, plus, I mean, it's been floating around Twitter, that video of his footwork doing them drills for a guy that size to, have that type of. I was like, shit, like this, like it's not just big for no reason. This is big that can move. Like if we ever need that play before the half, where you just say, "Fuck it, go get it," and he's like he's going to be that guy that goes that's able to go get it. So, but when you combine the personal tragedies, delayed ability to get significant playing time, what I'm saying, he's going to be 23, his rookie year. You mix all of that with the coach staff. I believe Canales told him, "Hey, you saw how I used Mike Evans last year. This is my plans for you." I believe that's what came from the meeting the last time with him. So, I have zero reservations. I'm all for the kid. I like a good comeback story, but I think his talents definitely are worthy of our 33rd pick.
Edgar, welcome in. It's good to see you. You're about an hour and 50 minutes late, but we appreciate you coming in. I don't mean I'm just
fire up the simulator again, Curtis. Rev that thing back up.
This time put it on fast.
This time put it on fast.
We didn't discuss everybody.
Let's go through a speed draft.
I thought you were still going to be on pick 33. That's why I jumped on.
Oh, with JJ in here, we might have been if we didn't put a timer on.
I'm for real. Y'all stay out. Y'all want to run it back on fast real quick? I mean, we ain't got to do all the discussion. We could just be like, we want the trade or not, and then boom, get whoever.
I mean, I'll do it quickly if everyone's down.
Wait, but Curtis, before you move, I want Edgar to give his opinion on our draft. This was the result.
Because if he's good with it, we can stick with it.
I think this is the worst mock draft I've seen out of all the ones.
Edgar.
I'm just kidding.
It's missing Jalen Polk. It's missing George Halani.
No,
hey, Curtis, go ahead and mute his mic, man.
I think I'm at the point where, like, and maybe you guys are at this point too. Like, the draft is like just right here, but there's been so much fatigue that like I could see any direction and I'll be cool with it. Like, I could talk myself into and out of any players, but like of the players that you have here, I think my favorite, like looking at all of these, I know this is a favorite of Curtis, so I see Tanner Bortolini as that center. I know there's a lot of energy towards drafting a center early in the second round. I really think that the Panthers like Austin Corbett in that role. And then I think it was Mike K that mentioned, like, would they really trust a rookie to like basically line up against all these veteran, I mean, including Aquanu, to like be the leader of that line? Or would they rather trust like someone like Austin Corbett with a rookie QB? So like, I really love a center late. I know I was talking to Kevin online about like, hey, like there's some really great centers later at the back end. So I love that you can pick it up later. And then I think Jalen Wright as a home run hitter, as a playmaker, I think Xavier Legette gives that also, but I'm missing that at the running back position. So like those are my favorites, and obviously Brendan Rice is a favorite of mine as well. So yeah, top notch, A+.
I just want to know your thought. We were just talking about this, Edgar. Your thoughts on Legette, because all signs right now, and whether you believe it or not, it seems like this guy is going to be a Panther by the end of this weekend. What are your thoughts on him? Do you have any reservations about him at either 33 or 39?
I know it sounds like a cop-out. Like, I like Xavier Legette, but I'm also nervous. So I don't know if anybody else feels that same way. Like, just because you like someone doesn't mean like you have no worries or no, like, you can like someone and know that they have red flags. And so I know late breakout age, he's only produced last year. He's 24. He's gonna be an old player, and so like he's still developing. I know I listen to Matt Harmon, also a Panthers fan, also does reception perception, knows his stuff about charting wide receivers, and like even he said, like just putting him out day one as an X, like it'll still take some time. He was still developing as a college player, let alone like in the NFL. And so there's just some reservation I have, but like I love his explosion. I love like his ability to take a crosser and just take it all the way. We didn't have that last year, and so some people said online, like maybe his floor is Laviska Shenault, but like his ceiling could be like a DK Metcalf. But like just because I like him, like doesn't mean like I'm all in. I have no worries that he'll be 100% not a bust. Like I still have my worries about him.
That's fair. Anyone else? Did I get everyone? Bryson on Leggett?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Edgar. I like Xavier. I think he's got the potential. Obviously, when you talk about the size and the speed that he presents. If you go back and you watch the Tennessee game last year, he struggled mightily against press man in that game. That worries me a little bit on the NFL level. Like Edgar was saying, he's still developing in a lot of areas. He's going to be playing much better talent in the NFL opposite side of him. So for Carolina and their needs and throwing him out there at the X position and treating him like quote unquote Mike Evans, which he was talking about, like Dave Canales told him, I do have some reservations, and I think he obviously can develop into a star receiver such as DK Metcalf with the just sheer physical abilities and physical traits that he has. But again, we've seen that fail in Carolina. So I think he's better than Mingo in almost every area. When Mingo was coming out last year, I think Leggett is a better prospect, much better prospect than what Mingo was. But I do have some reservations. But if he's there at 33 and that's the pick, I'm going to be happy with it. I'm not going to be upset.
All right, I'm going to – go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like I go back and look at, these type of guys that people are unsure of, in terms of how they translate to the NFL. Because I've seen your concerns, Bryce, with other people. People say that he struggled against NFL players, when he faced them, when he faced Wiggins at Clemson, when he I don't know if the people he faced at Tennessee were NFL caliber cornerbacks. But at the same time, I look at guys like Rashee Rice, from last year, who I think he went in the second or third round. I know he was day 2. You look at guys like that who have success early on good teams. I think it comes down to like the scheme and the offensive play caller and them designing plays to get them the ball and make plays in space. And so Rashee Rice, I didn't see a polished receiver when I watched Kansas City play this year, but I saw a scheme and an offensive coach design plays to get the ball into his hands quickly and let him use his legs. And he became really productive for the second half of the season and through the playoffs. And so I think Leggett is a player like that, where if you're creative in how you get him open, how you align him and get the ball to him quickly, then you let him be special, because I think he's a special athlete. He may not be a special wide receiver and technician, but I think he's a special athlete. And so I think there's a place for those guys in the NFL, but it all comes down to your offensive play caller and designer and the quarterback. And if those two things are synced up and clicking, then I think a guy like Xavier Leggett becomes like a real weapon. And I mean, and that's kind of how I see him in our offense. But, the wild card is that we don't know what this offense will look like, and the one that's tailored to Bryce Young from Dave Canales. So I'll just have to trust it until it doesn't work.
Another thing that not a lot of us have talked about either, and I think this is going to, be of great value these next couple of years since the rule changes, his return kick ability. I know Bill Belichick talked about that on Pat McAfee's show the other day and how that's really going to change some of these prospects and how they look at him. Well, Leggett, when I was watching him and looking up some of his stuff, 26.5 yards per return that's impressive as hell. That's really good numbers. And that
you want to look at sorry, go keep going.
No, I'm just saying, I just feel like that's another element to his game. And Edgar, you bring up good point. I'm just looking at some of my notes that I wrote from some of the games. I mean, that guy can take a shallow crosser all the way to the end zone, and is just his burst with his size 4.39 it's impressive as hell. But go ahead, Ricky.
I was just going to piggyback off of what you said about the rule changes, right? How about the hip drop tackle rule? You think that doesn't help a guy like Xavier Leggett when he's full speed and somebody's trying to chase him and they're not allowed to try to bring him down from behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is an advantage to his physical profile in that regard. Xavier Leggett, his usage, I think that when Deontay Johnson came out and said that he was going to be the X, everyone kind of lost their mind because they're like, how is Deontay Johnson going to be the X? You're just talking about a guy who's lined up against press coverage that can beat press coverage, right? That's what your X is. It's your first initial read that can beat press coverage. If Xavier Legette is facing off coverage as a Z flanker or a big slot, that's where he's going to eat, man. Like, you let him get a little bit of a head of steam and you let him hit that intermediate route, or when he's on the vertical plane, he's really difficult to guard, man. And if you get him in a one-on-one situation because the defense is allocating resources over to Deontay Johnson, who's creating separation, good luck stopping Xavier Legette one-on-one in those kind of situations.
Yeah.
And real quick, y'all talking about the drop tackle. I was just gonna say this because when it came out, good luck trying to tackle Big Derrick Henry's ass with that. I'm glad he's in the AFC. We don't play Baltimore because y'all thought what he did to Josh Norman. There's gonna be a whole lot of people looking like that trying to tackle him.
Hey, I'm just saying, Braylon Allen, similar size to Henry, coming out when he was coming into the NFL.
Somehow I knew that was going to come back to the dairy farmers.
Let's do Edgar a favor, man, and run this draft again, man. I want his input.
Yeah, let's just do another one real quick. Make it fast.
Do it. And look. If it takes longer than you want it to take, you cut the episode right here, and we all just have a fun time.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll with it. Let me go back here.
You good with it, JJ? I don't think I heard you say you were good with it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good with it. But if it goes beyond like 11:30 or so, I might just peace out.
There you go.
I don't. Hopefully it won't, but we'll see.
We'll go fast. 7 rounds.
Ricky had me up late the other day.
Yeah, we did. I'm very annoyed by that situation, man.
I think we're gonna see some better trade options this time around, because whenever I've done them back to back, if it was shitty trade options the first time around, when I hit restart again, it was a lot better the next time around.
All right, here we go.
All right,
Ricky, you didn't start another episode without recording, did you?
No, I know. We did an entire episode that was a very, very long time, very good conversation. And unfortunately, Alex is in the sticks of North Carolina visiting his in-laws, and the speed and reception for that was absolute garbage, and we were not able to upload it.
Dang, dude.
All right, so here's our trade offers. We got Cleveland here. I don't know if you guys can see that. 54 and 85, and then we got a second rounder. And then the other one is 64, 95, 131, and a second. I mean, that's a lot of picks there.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I just hate definitely interesting. It's interesting, but I hate 64. That's so far back, man. Like, I want that like 44 to 52 range in an extra third, you know?
Yeah.
But the thought of 64 and 65.
No, you're right.
It's appealing.
You're right. You're right.
And we still got the 39 in the back. I don't want to give up 2 picks, though.
Yeah,
but y'all do whatever you want here. I'll chime in on the picks, but you GMs handle this, man.
I don't know. 85 that's a nice buffer between 65 and 101. I don't know.
The first one's more appealing to me, in my opinion. Or the
Edgar, what are your thoughts on this?
Right.
I'm like Ricky. Like, I think there's a sweet spot. Like, if you look at different like where people are saying like where the good talent is found, like is somewhere 1 to 50, 1 to 60, right? And so like once you take more picks beyond that, like you're getting more picks and more, and we need them, but like the talent drop off, like you start to lose that value.
Like where is the threshold for where you can draft Jalen Polk? Because if it's a pick after that, I really don't want to do anything with it.
Do we want to skip trades and just make the picks for where we're at?
Sure.
Let's skip unless there's something that's like giving us a lot this particular time.
All right.
Cool.
So here we go. This is how the board fell. Let's go wide receivers. It's similar to the last draft we had.
Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Yeah. Nice. Let me see here.
I think because we got 6 people that might not go any bigger. It would block some of us
There we go. Is that better?
Go.
Oh, okay.
About the same.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can
try that.
There we go.
That works.
Yeah.
So there's your centers, your wide receivers.
Edgar, do you like Lad McConkey better or Xavier Legette better?
Or Jalen Polk.
Or Jalen Polk, sure.
I mean, I'm in the camp where like I'm whatever. Like I could sell myself on all 3 of them. It's just like whatever Canales' flavors he wants. A good metaphor that I heard the other day is like, I forgot who it was, but they said like, oh, like you should set up your wide receiver room like a basketball lineup, right? I heard another metaphor. It's like you should set up like your utensils. Like you need a fork, you need a spoon, you need a knife, right? Like, and so we don't need like if we have 2 spoons, I don't need a third spoon. And so there's like this other part of me that says like, man, if we have a Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, and a Lad McConkey, all kind of like similar builds and wins in the same way. Obviously, they're versatile. Like I would love to have someone bigger and faster that can win at the catch point. That's something that we don't have, and so that's something I wish I would get a Polk. Those type of Javon Baker. Like I want people who can win at the catch point versus like another separator. Even though I love separators, obviously I'm biased towards them, but I don't need like a whole army of short receivers.
So what if you approach this draft here and you said like, look, Zach Frazier's still on the board, right? What if you shored up that center position with a high coveted prospect at the center position? And Kev, I know that you're not as high on Frazier, but if like the team were to view him in that kind of manner, right? Then you shore it up with Zach Frazier, and then you maybe approach it with that Javon Baker mindset, even at pick 65. Man, I know that may seem early to some people. He's my 53rd overall prospect. I'm pretty high on Baker, and I think NFL teams are going to be too, man. So when you start looking at that and you look at it from a realistic standpoint, what if you switch up the attack here? What if you go like center corner and then go receiver at 65?
I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, I say we give it a go like that.
My only fear about going center this early is we're going to lose Cooper.
Yeah,
I think all of us would like to have Cooper.
I do like Cooper. I do.
Let me ask you this question.
That's me, you know.
Where did Kansas City pick Creed Humphrey a couple years ago?
31.
Second round.
But what
was it second round?
Yeah,
was second
I thought it was at the tail.
But
no, it was in the mid because we had our dumbasses traded back 3 times in the second round, and
That's
6 linemen went back to back to back to back, and
I'm thinking of Baltimore. I'm thinking of where Baltimore drafted Linderbaum. Yeah,
Humphrey
I'm thinking of where they drafted Linderbaum.
Yeah, Linderbaum went super early, but Linderbaum was looked at as generational, and so
and he got paid too. God, he got paid. Jeez.
But I don't know. I don't feel good taking center at 33. It just feels early to me.
So let's look at corner.
Corner.
Tampa.
Max Melton.
Insane Ristal. They're not putting a high grade on, but from all the reports out there, he's going to go way higher than where
I think he's closer to 39, 39 to 50 than he is 30.
My only hang up with saying Ristal, especially for our team, is if you look at who we have on the roster, right? And we did that earlier when we were looking at the corners. Where does he come in? Because you got Dane Jackson, Troy Hill, which is going to be another nickel, right? DiCaprio Bootle, Deshaun Jameson is another physically limited guy because of his size. And then Lamar Jackson and A.J. Parker, I don't really think that you want to have them in your plans. So where does Sainer still come in and make his impact early on?
I think Sainer still really comes in and just takes over for Troy Hill.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen too.
Yeah, I
heard someone on the radio talking about that today, I think.
And too. Troy Hill's been absent from voluntary so far too.
Yeah, and that might be because they're going to take Sainer still.
He's dealing with personal issues.
No, I know. I'm just messing with y'all. But Sainer still, I think, comes in, and if he is the guy they believe he is, the deal they gave Troy Hill, they can easily move off of that. They're not worried about that, and so I would think he would just take over and be the nickel in Evero's defense, and we play nickel a lot, so that's where I see him on the field at.
Evero is loyal to.
What about the edge position? We haven't mentioned that at 33 much. I think we've avoided that. You have
Darius Robinson's super intriguing, right?
Yeah,
I like Darius Robinson. Adisa Isaac is gaining steam for us as well. Marshawn Nealon.
I was just talking to somebody on Twitter today about Adisa Isaac. Like, of all the, I know I'm tracking all the visits and everything, and then I don't know everything, but of the ones that I know of, like Adisa Isaac is most intriguing to me because that was the only pro day that we have reported where they took their position coach and actually worked them out at their pro day. So I'm just like, is that they did the same thing with Taylor Moton like years ago, where like they worked them out at his pro day. And so it's just in the back of my mind, like, do the Panthers really like Adisa Isaac that they went all the way to take their position coach and work him out at his pro day?
That's interesting.
If I'm looking at positional value, though, I mean, and edge does qualify for what I'm about to say. If I'm looking at positional value, if I'm at 33, if I don't pick a wide receiver, then it has to be corner or edge over the wide receiver.
Yeah.
I know.
My
I know.
only
Like,
thing at edge. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, like, I know you guys already did a mock. Like, would you guys be willing to try not drafting a wide receiver until round 3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's.
think that's
Just another
sure.
Done it.
alternative.
It's talent out there.
I mean, I
I'll
think
come-
I'd be more comfortable going center if Johnson was there. That like if that guy falls, I think they'd be
Yeah.
Oh,
stupid.
that's a no-brainer.
Well,
So
I
then
mean,
why
and I
don't we
know-
why don't we do an edge and corner combo here and just pick out or linebacker if you like Cooper. So we need to pick between edge and corner for 33, and then if you want to take Cooper still at 39 because everyone likes him a whole lot, then that's
But
the way
here's
that
thing
those
about-
first two
So
can
here's the thing
unfold.
about edge. What you gonna do with Clowney and Wanham if you bringing in your first round?
Well,
pick?
you got to remember, Wanham's coming off injury, dude. Like this guy he's going to be
Yep.
back maybe for training camp.
But
So, like,
Darius Robinson isn't even really a classic stand-up edge outside linebacker, right? You're going to be able to move
He's
him
a-
all across the defensive front,
Yeah, he could play anywhere from a 3 technique to a wide 9.
right? Right.
But to me, he fits more of a 40 front scheme.
Yeah.
To me,
I
more
agree.
so than a 30 front. But now, if we got him, I wouldn't be
well,
mad.
Isaac
per
fits
se,
that.
but-
Isaac fits the what Evero wants to do
For sure.
on that edge spot.
Yep.
If we're looking that route.
Try
Isaac-
But
Isaac here.
I don't see a scenario where any of these guys would be 33, but I'm with it just for the exercise. But
I
don't see
agree.
it.
I agree.
So who do we like out of this group? Because I think we can
You know
get one of our corners at 39. So
You know what I would like to do, just for the sake of running it the way that we're trying to run it. Can we restart it?
yeah, you can restart it.
Restart it and see if it gives us a more, I guess, realistic
No.
scenario to play it this way.
What
Kinda
y'all
like
gonna
when
do
you
with
lose on
Jackson
Mario
Powell?
Brothers and you reset your Nintendo.
Go on the
Let
Oh,
me
here
blow
you go.
Just skip
blow
him.
the
Just skip him.
So let's see here. That's the same. Oh, Braswell's there.
He
But
was
Braswell was there before. Never mind.
Can we go to all to see who's available?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Barton,
about the
They're
same.
not
I like
letting these
Kingsley.
corners
I like
drop.
Kingsley too. Mattia. That would be a fun one.
the corner is not dropping. That's what I
Let's
was
do
hoping
this.
for.
I'm gonna really throw a wrench. We're gonna go to PFF and
Hey,
try
there you go.
there
Let's do
and
it.
try.
Look at
their
us,
mock.
man.
Try the superior platform.
Let's try that. All right, here we go.
But then you got to slide out those indicators and stuff, or you just leave it preset as is.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to mess with that or not. That's why I'm gonna pull it up. Do we
By the
want
way,
to mess with these indicators at all? This public board versus PFF? Or let's just do the standard.
Yeah.
Why not?
Just go for it. It would depend on which member of the public's board they were using, right?
Oh, Adonai Mitchell, babe. That's the pick. You
Power
guys don't even
Johnson.
get to- You
Whoa.
guys
Power
don't even get to
Johnson.
decide.
Now we
JPJ.
Now we're talking.
Powers Johnson.
I would go JPJ
and
there.
that's it. That's a no-brainer.
Yep.
For the
Go
purpose of this
JPJ.
one,
Let's
since
play
we're
it that way.
I wouldn't even run the card up. I would make a paper airplane and I would throw it to get there faster. Like,
Oh man.
I would do
Mitchell's
Morse
sitting there.
code. I would just make sure they
Yeah.
move.
right.
All right, we're gonna take Jackson.
All right,
There you go.
Perfect.
I love that.
Oh, let's go another. No, I'm playing. We're gonna go wide
Let's
receivers, but-
go. So wideouts are here. Your buddy Pokes out there. I'm not picking him. That's off the
See,
board.
this is rigged. Then this is a completely unfair system.
You
See,
just
they
got
gotta
your
hire
guy.
Saints group.
You just got your guy.
JJ
Um,
got two guys last time. Come on.
Hey man, hey,
Now,
hey,
I'm
kids, now
sorry.
kids.
Yeah, that wasn't
Stain-
fair. Sorry.
Stain
JJ.
Ristel is there. That's intriguing at that spot. At
And I
39.
think they really
I like
him.
TJ Tampa personally.
I like TJ
Is
Tampa a
Coop,
lot
is Coop
too.
there? Is Cooper on the board?
Let's see.
I'm sorry.
he's
I'm
still
sorry.
there.
Yep.
Ah,
They got Peyton Wilson ranked ahead of him. If you
Yeah.
want to talk about
Bullshit.
weird rankings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
exactly. Bullshit.
they don't know ball. They don't
I had a
know
guy
ball.
debate me,
100%
but he won the Butt Kiss Award.
Who gives a
So,
shit? Yeah. So
I told him so did Manti Te'o. What that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
Oh man,
Oh,
things have not
no,
gone well for you since we moved over to PFF, JJ.
I still got a chance for Edgar Cooper here, right?
Yeah.
I think we go
to
corner.
me, that's another no-brainer.
I think we try to change it up and go corner here.
What if you go saying we're still here and go kind of off of like a, hey, if JPJ falls, but then you follow the trail of breadcrumbs that Morgan and these guys have left, what if you go saying we're still there?
Yeah, I think that's probably the likely.
And we're still gonna be absent the leader of the defense.
That's it.
Man.
Yeah. Edgar, what you think of Cooper?
Blake Corum.
We do not have a wide receiver yet. This is where we're taking.
Cooper is still there.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he is.
damn.
Yeah.
Edgar, what you think of Cooper? Edgar Cooper at linebacker. I want to hear your take on it.
I mean, he's by all metrics like he's one of the best run stoppers, coverage guys, best tackles for loss in the SEC. Like, there's not much you could hate about him.
JJ, what do you think about Edgar Cooper?
Who is Edgar Cooper? I've never seen the guy. I don't know.
So imagine that haul though. What if you had JPJ saying we're still and Edgar Cooper to start it off?
Could you imagine what fans
Solid.
would do if they do not pick a wideout in the first 2 rounds? They will lose their
But
shit.
then can you imagine what fans would do if we won 9 games next year because we picked
Oh,
good football
don't talk
players?
about 9 games yet.
Come on, I got to, man. It's the last mock of the year. Let's get insanely optimistic about shit.
No, the optimism has been drained.
Davon Baker is still there. Baker's still
And
there.
Do we want to go Cooper and then hope or take one of these wideouts at 101?
101.
It's talent. It's talent that's not known at wideout that would be good, but it depends on how your depth of study.
Jermaine Burton will still be there at 101.
And Thrash from Louisville will still be there too. I love him. Thrash
Love them both.
boy.
I love
Malik Washington is another guy I think that they
Love
like
Malik Washington.
that
Very
also
good
would
player.
also be there at that spot.
Do we want to go Cooper then?
Go Cooper,
Yes.
man. Let's do
Yep.
it. Let's get crazy.
Yes.
Coop.
That's all I got.
All right, we want to go guard here. You think we need a guard?
Yeah.
Wait a
What's
minute.
the long
What
snapper
happened to
situation?
65? Wait a minute. Why are we at 101? What happened to 65?
We went
We took
Cooper.
Cooper.
So hold on, who was the first pick we took?
Kevin, you sleeping over there? or what?
JPJ.
JPJ and then
Saner still.
Same
We
as
picked,
us.
we picked Power
Oh,
Johnson
I
and
didn't-
Kev blacked out, man. He was like, I got it.
I was already thinking all pro, you know what I'm saying?
Who are the wide
Ecstasy.
receivers? for it?
Yeah,
Wide
go wide out.
receivers. Oh Christ!
Thrash.
Nia Smith.
Calvin
Oh,
was
my
nice.
God.
Sitting there.
My guy is
What about our
gone.
tight ends? You can't forget about the tight ends.
They're Senate.
I bet you Senate still there.
Yeah, he's still there.
Oh.
Because
Let's go get
PFF
Senate.
doesn't believe in him. But if you get Senate here, are you kidding me? Like, sign
get
me
Senate.
up for that all
Tight
day.
end 2 in the draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get Senate. Yeah, let's get
All right.
Senate. That makes sense.
Send it in.
Tight end too far away, too, man. Top
Tight end
35
2,
grade.
We got to roll a dice on a wide receiver. Or we
Tight
still
end
good
2,
at
no
that?
Diddy. Is that what you said, Kevin?
Hey, that Whittington is still out. Didn't someone mention him?
Who?
Oh,
I've
Jordan
heard about.
Whittington,
I've heard a little bit about that wide receiver from Georgia there, Jack Saint. I
Yeah.
don't know much about him.
Good
But
special teams guy. Possession receiver.
Hey, you know what? We're gonna make everybody mad because we didn't pick a wide receiver, and there's
Yeah, I
no
know.
good receivers left.
They're gone.
That's all right.
Curtis's thing, man, making people mad. He thrives
Is
off of
Burton
the
going
hate.
at wide
Where
receiver?
is? What positions have we not addressed?
Defensive
yet? Wide
tackle.
receiver, defensive tackle, running
there's no-
back. We have not looked at running back.
Will Shipley.
Bryson, your guy out of Marshall, they
yeah,
brought. or they
Rasheen
looked
Ali.
at.
He is.
Y'all know about Kimani Vidal? Y'all familiar with him
sir.
at all?
Yes.
I love Kimani Vidal, man. That right there is a ball player, dude. You're talking
Look at
about a big time
he's great.
recruit out of Georgia, played at a really high level caliber high school in Georgia, 4.40, one of the best pass blockers in the class. Terrific contact balance, great vision.
has juice.
Juice, man. Yeah, this dude has a bunch of it. I like Kimani Vidal a lot. A very similar body style as like a Maurice Jones-Drew. Really small, dense, and compact, but he's got some wiggle to him. He's got strength, contact balance. Just a great player, I think, man. He's my running back 7.
Yeah, I like it all.
You know,
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard for them.
8 Raz.
Curtis,
Do
click
y'all
on
think
click on
you
Lee
think Will
Williams.
Shipley be the first Clemson Tiger they ever draft?
Nope.
I don't think so, but I'll tell you this. I don't think that Will Shipley is a bad football player, and I don't think that he would be a bad fit here in Carolina. Even I'm not like high on him necessarily, but he's probably the best pass catching running back in this class.
What do you want to take here?
I'm still bitter from when the Texans came for a preseason game and all the Clemson fans were cheering for Deshaun Watson at Bank of America Stadium.
Yeah.
Every time he made a play, and everything, I'm like, fuck Clemson players. No.
Man, chill.
I'm a Maryland fan, man. I don't.
Hey, we got
anybody.
Mustafa's out here. That's a guy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like Mustafa.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Let's go with him.
We don't need a safety.
I made a decision. All right, let's go to the next pick. I need to cut this episode, and it'll be cut by about 5 o'clock tomorrow. We don't keep this rolling.
Go to wide receiver.
Yeah, we still haven't taken one. Might be a good time.
Hey, you can't forget DJ Chark. He's still a free agent.
I can't believe we went through this whole draft and didn't address the wide receiver position. You guys suck.
Yeah, terrible.
Well, who did we get, JJ? Who did we get instead?
Edgar and Cooper.
Ben Sennett.
Yeah.
Ben
Pass
Sennett.
catcher. Pass catcher.
Pass catcher.
We
There you
went
go,
and got.
Bryson.
Did we pick Cooper? Who was Cooper?
Yeah, we got Cooper.
We didn't have to take
I was
Cooper.
just-
We're just gonna run more.
We could have took Javon Baker at 65.
Yep.
We're just gonna run more 12 personnel. That's all.
That's
it.
all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
I'm good.
What about this guy from Holy Cross?
Did we get a running back yet?
Actually, the kid from Holy Cross isn't bad. Anthony Gold down there is also a name. The kid out of Oregon State. You talk about a special teams contributor right away, but he's also a dynamic, fast, shifty little fella too.
We could get McClellan. They brought that. They were talking to
Jason
him,
McClellan.
weren't they?
They did.
Yeah,
Out of all of them, I take Vidal out of all of them.
100%. Me
I
too.
think
Well,
Vidal's
we can
the
wait.
best
We
choice
can.
there.
We can wait on him though, right? Or will he?
No, he's going to go. We're going to take Vidal. All right, next pick, 240.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
We're a running team.
Now get a
JJ.
wide
Defense
receiver.
and running.
Oh, wide receiver.
Kicker.
Wait, let's see if Shai Smith's available.
There's 4 receivers left in the draft.
Let me go get my gun, man.
Damn. Talk about a run on
Hey,
receivers.
let's just see who got the best grades out of each 4 of them. You know, the little green thing.
Y'all gonna make me punch my laptop.
Let's check. What about David White? How is he out of?
Oh
Western
yeah,
Carolina?
David White. Absolutely. Look at that. Look
Who
at that
cares?
receiving grade.
Yeah.
I'll give you my most deep analysis on him, and it's that I don't know who he is, and I watched 182 prospects this year.
Oh, so he's just like DJ Johnson then.
Look at
Hey,
this
I
guy.
actually had DJ Johnson.
Hey,
I watched the game.
look at
of his
this
last year.
This guy's impressive. I
But
don't
no,
handle.
At
He
this
got
point,
a 90
you just gotta-
grade.
At this point, you just got to pick the most impressive school, who is highly ranked and played against good talent. We got Mississippi State here, or Ole Miss, I guess.
Is that Zachary Franklin? I can't see the name. Is that who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah.
He's gonna be the next DK Metcalf.
He's a slight guy. He's this dude is super thin. If it's who I'm thinking, he is
I
very
hate
thin
him.
framed.
I went Hayden.
Jeez, you're
Then
picking
that's
them all.
That's AJ Brown.
Man, we got an F on this guy. You guys are failures. I'm just kidding.
Come on, Vidal.
Y'all super reach for the dog.
Hey,
man.
we
I
hit
can't
on
believe
those
y'all
first
reached
3
for
picks, though. Those first
Yeah.
3 picks.
That's that audacity talking right there.
Now that JJ said that we super reached on Vidal, I am rooting for him no matter where he gets drafted to just absolutely blow up, so that I can record that picture or that little segment right there, and I'm just gonna have that as like my header. It's just JJ, you super reached.
It's super
That's
reach
like
for the dog.
that's like last
Look
year
at
with Keaton Mitchell
Yeah.
out of East Carolina didn't get drafted. I was
Correct.
hoping we would have got
Correct.
him, and he got the
I'm
Ravens
saying,
and like blew
Kevin,
up.
I will give you credit for that because you was beating the drum for Keaton last draft and
Yep.
he did show out.
I will say PFF
And-
thought we should have went AD Mitchell instead of Jackson Powers. That's all. I'll just
Hey,
throw that out
Nah,
Hey, but
got
He
Nevin,
got, he
Off
got
the board.
motor issues for me. He don't
I agree.
give it all every play.
He's
But
also
Kevin,
a little bit as good as he is at route running. He's a little clunky in the intermediate too.
And Kevin, a nugget about Keaton Mitchell. His high school coach is actually my son's high school coach right now.
Nice.
I didn't know that at the time, but I found that out, later on last year. But that's my son's high school football coach. His name is Jonathan Guest, but he coached Keaton Mitchell.
Well, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. We can talk offline here, but I just want to thank you all for coming on. Edgar, thank you coming in late.
Of course.
But
Thanks
just appreciate you guys. I know it was 2.5 hours of us on here almost. So just thank you and enjoy the draft this week. I know, Ricky, I think you'll be in Charlotte doing something, right? Ink and Ivy.
Yeah. I'll be part of a VIP analyst panel with John Ellis. You guys know him from the Roar podcast. Former Panthers player and NFL veteran Stephen Israel will be leading the VIP analyst panel at Ink and Ivy on Thursday night for the first round. Come and see me. You can get one of these cool Bow Body Show koozies. I'll be handing those out for you too. And tomorrow is also my kid's birthday, so I'm a piece of shit dad who is going to be at a luncheon with Peyton Manning in the afternoon and then doing a draft panel at night on his birthday. So yeah, I feel awful about it. Thanks for bringing it up.
Hopefully he'll have
Ink and Ivy got some hell of a drink, so have a good time, Ricky. You got to.
Hey Kev, man, if you're in town, come on up, man. I got tickets for all y'all. Anyone that's around, dude, y'all come on up.
What time is that at?
7 p.m. is when the general admission opens up. VIP opens at 6. There's players and stuff. You have the cocktail hour with us and the players. Captain Munderland will be there. An old guy that I actually played ball, or he played ball at the same high school that I went to, Omar Gaither, former Philadelphia Eagle from Myers Park High School. He'll be up there. Joe D from the Cleveland Browns, all-pro guy, offensive guard. He'll be there. And all these guys are going to be telling their draft stories. We'll be doing simulcasted analysis over the TVs and loudspeaker. It's going to be a cool event, man. I'm excited about it.
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's dope.
I don't think my Ink and Ivy, their parking there absolutely sucks.
It sucks. Oh, yeah. Take it Uber.
I mean, the parking space is about that narrow. I mean, you literally got to suck your car in just to park. It's crazy.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys again. Seriously, appreciate it.
Can I say one thing, Curtis?
Thank you for having me.
Because it's not going to come up because of Ricky on the Bow Body Show, because the show will never be air. But I want to say, you and Bryson always kill it with this stuff. Thanks for inviting us. But if you followed us this far, if you haven't subscribed yet, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, let's run up these numbers for Curtis and Bryson for all the hard work they've done all off season and put this mock draft together. Show them some love. Even comment if we did something wrong. If we should have done something else. Put something in the comments.
Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.